Chicks dig the long ball. The Astros are definitely making a love connection with Houston fans. Rick Ankiel and J.D. Martinez were the latest to contribute to a victory with big early inning home runs. A guy who could use that kind of contribution is Phil Umber, looking for a fourth straight quality start on the anniversary of perfection. Time to double down on Astros baseball starting now. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet. Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's Game 2 of a 3-game series. The Astros meet the Cleveland Indians. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. We saw a 3-2 Astros win last night. That snapped their 5-game losing streak and handed the Indians their 5th straight loss. Ash?
Not a bad thing to do when you're riding a losing streak yourself. But the Indians come in, they're a team that's been struggling. Obviously, they've had some problems driving in men in scoring position, and injuries have been a big part of what's gone on for the Indians early on.
The Astros got a starting pitching from Lucas Harrell that put them in a good position. Then the bullpen was almost airtight, and some long balls early.
It's exactly the formula that seems to work well for this ball club, especially when they get some runs early, and the home runs never hurt in that regard. That's opening night, when Rick Ankiel had the pinch hit 3-run home run against the Texas Rangers and the one win in that series. Club moved on to Seattle. Chris Carter got in the act a couple of times in one ball game, first time he's done that, and just tore it up. And then moving on to Anaheim, it was Maxwell with the big home run. Last night, J.D. Martinez going the other way. And these early in the ball game and giving the club leads that the bullpen and even the starting staff able to hold on to.
So that's been a common influence on the wins, home runs in each, and they hope that continues tonight. And especially Phil Umber, because he's only had one run of support in his 3 starts.
Isn't that something? He's pitched so well, and yet you look at the numbers on Philip Umber. He's 0-3 on the season, but dig deeper, please, because he has pitched very well. You see just 4 walks while he strikes out man after man here. Not walking many, not giving up the long ball. He's allowed just 1 home run, and very impressive because last year he allowed 23 home runs in just over 100 innings. Philip Umber pitching like a man who deserves some W's.
Coming up, Jose Altuve, who sizzles through the early part of the season, has a bobblehead coming tonight for these fans at Minute Maid Park. We'll hear more from Julia Morales next.
Houston. The Astros hosting the Cleveland Indians in the second of a 3-game series, and we're close to game time, and I have a very special guest with me right now. Jose Altuve joining me on Altuve bobblehead night. This is a big night. I know you've seen it, but we're going to show it to you again. What do you think, Jose?
I like it. It looks like me.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you
At least he has my jersey.
Do you ever stand like this? What I want to know.
I like it.
Good. Well, what does it mean for you to have a bobblehead night like this and for them to celebrate you?
No, that means a lot. I remember the first time I came to Minute Maid Park when I won the MVP award in the Rookie League. I came here, I watched a game, and they were giving away the Ivan Rodriguez bobblehead. And I took a lot, and I bring it to my house, and all my family, they were really happy. And now they just remind me that, hey, you remember, we have a Ivan Rodriguez bobblehead now, we want yours. You're in his spot right now. I feel really good about that, and, you know, we have a game tonight. We're going to try to win it, and, you know, have a good day.
So you have to get a bunch of these for your family, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They asked me a lot for bobblehead, and I have to give it away.
Well, I'm sure they can get you some. Let's talk about your year so far and how well you've been doing. Getting on base, that's your on-base percentage over 400 right now. You're doing what you're supposed to do at leadoff. How do you feel in that position?
No, I feel really good. Like I said before, I just want to come to the field and see my name in the lineup. I'm going to feel pretty comfortable. I know I have good guys hitting behind me. That's why I like to get on base to let them the heavy job, to have the ball, and I can score some runs. At the end of the day, have a good day as a team and win the game.
Defensively, highlights last night, but it seems like every night you two, or you and Marwin, or you and Ronnie Cedeno work really well down the middle. How's that relationship here with your other infielders?
No, I think that's really important, the communication that we have right now. We've been talking a lot about baseball. When we're in the field, outside the field, we just talk about that plays, about, you know, the hitter, the runners. Every time we just anticipate the play, and I think that's why we're doing a really good job out there.
Well, good luck tonight.
No, thank you.
Coming up here on Comcast Sportsnet Houston, we've got the Astros trying to take this series from the Cleveland Indian. Philip Umber facing another Texas native on the mound tonight. Stay with us. First pitch around the break.
Maid Park, it's game 2 of a 6-game homestand. The Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros getting set to play for the second time this season. Here is the starting lineup for Terry Francona's club. Michael Brantley leads it off. He's the left fielder with Jason Kipnis at second base, as Drupal Cabrera, the shortstop, bats third. The cleanup man is right fielder Nick Swisher, with Jason Giambi the DH, Carlos Santana the catcher, Mark Reynolds at first base, Lonnie Chisenhall at third base, Drew Stubbs, the center fielder. Their pitcher is Scott Patton.
On the mound for the Astros tonight, right-hander Philip Humber. He's 0-3, yeah, but he's pitched very well. That ERA 2.89. One rough start in there just a little bit, but only 4 walks, 1 home run allowed in 18 2/3 innings. His numbers are the numbers, quite frankly, of a pitcher who could be 2-1, 3-0 on the season.
Now Bradley gets it started. Michael 0 for 4 with a walk in last night's game. Taking strike 1 on the inside edge from Philip Humber, who is 0-2 in his career against the Tribe with an 8.74 ERA in 7 games, 5 as a starter. Bradley led off last night in the absence of the injured Michael Bourne. He's on the 15-day disabled list with 5 stitches in his right index finger. 1-1 for Humber. Leads the staff in ERA. This fly ball hits for left center field. Maxwell over and on the warning track. Good running catch by Justin.
Defense behind Philip Humber. Doing the catching tonight, Carlos Corporan around the infield from first to third. Brandon Laird, Jose Altuve, Ronnie Cedeno, and Matt Dominguez. And in the outfield, Justin Maxwell is flanked in center by Brandon Barnes in right and Chris Carter in left.
Beautiful sunny night here. And as you can see, the first baseman might have some problems for a while with that sun in his eyes. Jason Kipnis returned from an injury last night. His manager, Terry Francona, thought he moved around very well. 167 for Kipnis with 2 runs batted in. But he had 2 hits and a walk and stole a base last night. And Francona really liked the way he was moving around.
Looks like early on, Philip Humber has the paintbrush out. He's working on the corners pretty well.
Yeah. Line drive is into right field for a single for Kipnis. And the Tribe, which got 2 runs on 8 hits last night, gets the first hit of this game. Kipnis aboard for Cabrera now.
Might have been the changeup. Looked like Kipnis was on in front, but able to extend the bat through the zone with that one arm and get to it.
Kipnis aboard. Cabrera's the batter. Switch hitting shortstop with a 138 average, has 2 homers, 3 runs batted in. As Drubal was 1 for 3, and that hit was a double. He also drew a walk in last night's game. Double play depth for Cedeno and Altuve. Dominguez way off the line at third. 0-1 to Cabrera. Cabrera's a 2-time All-Star. He is 4 for 10 in his career against Philip Humber. He had a first inning double last night. The Tribe stranding 9 in that 3-2 loss. And Cleveland is hitting .213 with runners in scoring position so far this year. The liner hits for the gap in left center field. Maxwell over. Here's Kipnis going first to third. The throw goes in towards second. That's a single for Cabrera. First and third, 1 out for the Indians with Swisher batting next.
As Drubal Cabrera had been in a miserable funk leading into last night's game, swung the bat better, everybody felt. And again, this may have been the changeup. Good hitting, driving it out to left center field.
Kipnis going first to third, and now Swisher.
Numbers on Philip Humber on the year, very impressive against make that right-hand hitters. And we've seen a couple of left-hand hitters with hits here in the inning, and they've hit .387. But those right-handed bats, 128 on the season. Here's another lefty.
Yeah, Nick Swisher, the cleanup man with 2 homers, 6 runs batted in, has a .275 batting average in his first year with the Indians, coming as a free agent who played for the Yankees last year. Last night he had a walk and a double. There's strike 1. Terry Francona was talking in his media gathering in the Indians dugout before batting practice today about their offensive woes, and he feels that several of their hitters are simply trying to do too much right now. That's a strike to Swisher, who typically goes deep into counts. Right now he's behind 0-2 in this one.
You throw early strikes as a starting pitcher in particular, and despite what the opposing hitters might want to do, trying to get deep into counts, you'll force their hand, force them to swing early.
Umber misses with that one on Swisher. It's a 1-ball 2-strike count. Swisher's 0 for 4 lifetime against Umber, the 30-year-old native of Nacogdoches, Texas, who lives in Tyler now. Had quite a career at Rice University, going 35-8 there, and he was a first-round pick of the New York Mets in 04, the 3rd player drafted. That's a foul ball, and it's still a 1-ball 2-strike count. Carlos Corporan, the catcher, was setting up that outside target. His left foot outside the catching box. Mike DeMuro is the home plate umpire. The Indians are 5-10. They've lost 5 in a row. The Astros are 5-11. Dan Molino, Ted Barrett, Alfonso Marquez also on this crew. Swisher hits a foul ball, and this one will go back into those sun splash seats down the first base line. Very bright evening here, and it has been just perfect temperature today.
What a gorgeous day.
Yeah.
Clouds just now.
6 runs scored in 15 games, ranked 13th in the American League. They just started a 10-game road trip last night. Fly ball out to right center field. That's in for a hit, and the Indians grab the lead. Maxwell over to play it. Swisher into second. And it's 1-0 on a play at second that Swisher avoids the tag to Ronnie Cedeno and hustles it into a double. That's his 4th double of the year. He picks up RBI number 7 to make it 1-0, and Cabrera takes 3rd.
With the last 2 hitters, the Indians have found the gaps where the Astros are not positioned. Maxwell has had a long way to go and really no chance to get to these balls. Previous one by Cabrera to left center, this to right center.
Perfect throw might have had him, but as you mentioned, Maxwell had to go a long way to get to that ball. Now runners at second and third, 1 out for Jason Giambi. Giambi is 3rd among active players with 430 homers. This ball 1 to Giambi. He's had just 12 at bats, and he has 1 home run this season. Giambi last night was 0 for 4. He struck out with 2 men on to end the first inning. Umber misses there to fall behind him. 2 balls, no strikes. And there Terry Francona was talking about Giambi's 8th inning at bat. Swisher had led off with a double. The Indians trailed by 1. Giambi was trying to pull the ball to the right side to advance him. He wound up with a pop up to third.
Turned out to be one of the key outs of the ball game to get that first out and not have the runner move up.
Giambi works the count to 3-0. You see the designated hitter batting averages. He's at .083 alongside Kelly Johnson.
Umber's starting to miss up in and out of the strike zone a bit.
Giambi smacks one a long way to right center field. This one has some lift on it. It hits the base of the wall. That'll score 2. Giambi in with a 2-run double, a 3-0 Indian lead. He sent that one a long way deep into right center field for Giambi, and the Tribe has scored 3 early.
And again, an Indians hitter finding the gap that is broadest presented here early in the ball game. Umber on the 3-0 comes with the predictable fastball, and Jason Giambi's been around long enough for Terry Francona to give the green light to, and he makes it pay off. You can see that big gap in right center field, and he splits it perfectly.
Cabrera and Swisher come home, and they've had 4 consecutive hits now off Umber. That prompts a visit from Doug Brocail, the pitching coach. Umber coming into this game with that 2.89 ERA had not given up more than 3 earned runs in any start for the Astros. So now 3 runs already have come home, and he's facing Santana with only 1 out in the inning. Santana has been the best hitter for the Tribe. 375, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. He was 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Ball 1 from Umber.
Interesting that Umber recently has made some comments about the fact that, yes, he's pitched really well and has nothing to show with the 0-3 record. But he says, you know, there are times during the season where you don't pitch as well as you can and you'll get picked up by the offense. And I'm sure he hopes that's the case here this evening.
2 balls, no strikes to Santana. Santana has reached base in 22 of his 47 plate appearances for a .468 on base percentage. Umber misses there and falls behind him 3-0 as he did Giambi.
6th consecutive left-handed bat coming up to start the game for the Indians. And again, those numbers heavily weigh toward favor for the hitters, left-handers against Umber.
Santana's 5 for 8 against Umber with a homer. That's in for a strike. Yeah, that's quite a differential. As you pointed out earlier, right-handers 128 against Umber, left-handed hitters 387.
Unusual stance there by Santana, putting that right lead foot, just the toe on the ground. Helps guys in some cases to keep the weight loaded back on the backside.
He draws a walk, and that brings up Mark Reynolds. Reynolds, a slugging first baseman, driven in 13.
And now finally that right-handed bat to face takes 7 hitters in to get it.
They are stacked on their lineup with these left-handed batters. Reynolds had 2 hits and a walk in last night's game. Playing first base tonight. This is his 6th start at that position. He started 8 games at DH. And in tight, and a foul tip, actually. He's looking down. He dropped the bat. Strike 1. Apparently he thought he got hit. He's looking down at his right elbow. Let's see it.
Starts that front shoulder opening up, and that drags the bat through, and a lot of times, even if it hits you and not the bat, it leaves a question mark, and one the home plate umpire has to respond to very quickly.
He had a look on his face. It looked like a look of somebody who might have been grazed by a pitch. Francona making his point with Mike DeMuro.
Let's see what we see. Everything starts to open. The bat starts to drag out. And you could almost say it could have hit both. Maybe bat and upper arm going by. Could have been one or the other.
If it hit the bat first, and it's a foul ball.
Yeah. Reynolds acting like maybe it hurt, but sure didn't look like it would have hurt had it caught any piece of that uniform.
Drive to left field. That one's headed for the seats. And Mark Reynolds takes the tour on a 3-run homer. As the Indians explode here in the first inning with a 6-run frame. That's his 6th of the year, giving him 16 runs batted in, 6-0 Indians.
Yeah, we talked about Mark Reynolds last night. He's just a monster. A guy that can hit a ball as far as anybody in the game today. He'll strike out a ton, but it goes in the direction of Mark Reynolds this time. And he says, I got hit on the previous pitch, but I have a feeling he's happy about the decision. Just a hanging slider. Didn't look like he got all of it, but he, again, is so strong.
Lonnie Chisenhall bats next. Strike to Chisenhall, a 205 hitter with 2 homers. 8 runs batted in. Dallas Keuchel begins to get loose for the Astros. Chisenhall hit a 2-run homer for both the Indians' runs last night, going 1 for 4. Smacks this one on the ground. Past to diving Brandon Laird into the right field corner. Heading for second base. Brandon Barnes throw. And that's a double for Chisenhall. Well, the Indians tattooing the ball here at Minute Maid Park in the first inning.
They are certainly splitting the gaps. It's one of those innings offensively that you can't realistically explain. It's part of what takes place over a 162-game schedule.
Drew Stubbs is next. with 1 out. There have been 6 hits, 4 for extra bases, 3 doubles and a homer by the Tribe in this frame. Stubbs, the number 9 hitter, will carry a .213 average to the plate with 3 runs batted in. Last start, 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs. Tonight, 1/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 6 earned runs for Philip Umber. The Astros had 2 disastrous starts in the series in Oakland, in which their starting pitcher could not get out of the first inning. So Keuchel warming up. Number 1 hitter Bradley on deck, and Stubbs the batter with a runner at second and 1 out. He cracks one, and there's a diving stop by Altuve and a throw to first. Not in time. Tremendous play by Altuve, but Stubbs picks up hit number 7 of the inning.
That's an unbelievable play. Popping up very quickly, trying to get that out at first base. Drew Stubbs runs well, but watch this. What a layout. This guy is playing it offensively and defensively as well as you can do it.
Very good timing on that dive. Awfully hard to dive and then get up and throw out somebody from behind second base. But he gave it his best shot. Now Michael Bradley with runners at first and second. He hit the warning track fly ball to Maxwell in the first inning. And that's ball 1. The Astros had a string of good starts with low ERAs by their starting pitchers going into that Oakland series. That's a high drive to right center field. That sends Barnes on a long run. And that will be extra bases as well. At least 1 run will score and make it 2. It's 8-0 Cleveland. Bradley winds up at second base.
What do you do if you're Philip Umber? You've been pitching really good baseball. Consistently solid. You come out for the first inning. He had to feel prepared tonight, and this happens. See your teammates loosen it up, and it just loosens everybody in the lineup. And again, a gap is found.
Dallas Keuchel will come in. Monday, Eric Bedard went 1/3 of an inning in Oakland, gave up 6 earned runs. And Wednesday, Bud Norris in Oakland went 2/3 of an inning and gave up 6 earned runs. And now tonight, another rough start to 3rd and 4 games for an Astros starting pitcher. It's 8-0 Cleveland. Back in a moment. There's still only 1 out. Brantley made that out, leading off the game. And then 4 straight hits, a walk, and now 4 more hits in the inning. It's a barrage of extra base hits in the Indians' attack. That brings in Dallas Keuchel with an ERA of 1.13.
And quickly, you think back to that first out. You mentioned Michael Brantley flying out to left center field, a long run and near the wall as that catch was made by Maxwell. For Keuchel, 25 years of age, in 3 games so far this season, 8 innings of work, allowing a run. That's an ERA of 1.13, so he's pitched well. And now faces this predominantly left-handed lineup, although some switch hitters in the mix.
So Kipnis makes it lefty on lefty here. He's single to right. And that's a strike. And the Astros had talked about wanting a left-handed long man for this very reason, that if they started a right-handed pitcher and the opposing team was stacked with left-handed hitters, that would give their lefty reliever something of an edge. But then you run into the other philosophy, Ash. It's a feeding frenzy for all the hitters now. They're all just jumping to get up to home plate.
Yeah, it is one of those nights. You have that first inning where everybody starts raking away and you just can't wait to get to the plate.
It's a bouncer and picked up on the short hop by Laird. 2 outs, Brantley to third.
Not a bad play by Laird, just stepping in, taking hold of that big first baseman's glove, and gets a short hopper that he handles well. Michael's last time out, a big double play there, started by Altuve, and an effective left-hander to this point for the club.
Cabrera is one of those switch hitters Ash talked about. Now he turns around after having hit from the left side and singling to left center field. That's in the dirt and blocked by Corcoran. Ball 1 from Dallas Keuchel. Tough, obviously, for a guy in Keuchel's shoes who goes out to the bullpen. He knows he's the long man. He knows there's a possibility that he could come in this game early. Hardly figures he's going to be coming in with 1 out in the first inning.
Quite a luxury for Indians manager Terry Francona to have 3 switch hitting bats right in the heart of that order. Cabrera, Swisher, and Santana.
It really is. Pretty unusual. 2 balls and no strikes.
I imagine that Terry Francona would tell you there hasn't been a whole lot of luxury enjoyed to this point on the season.
Not at 5 and 10. 2 balls and a strike.
I don't know what the Indians felt they had coming out of spring training. I think they're a club that is trying to move forward and get better. But I don't think they realistically felt they had a contending club immediately, although you never know. You watch what some teams do on a given season, it's always a possibility.
Other fans were encouraged by the wintertime moves they made, including Francona.
Yes.
3 and 1, and the usual rave reviews are coming about his work in the clubhouse with the players.
Players love him, and that can sound, I think, to some fans like maybe not necessarily a good thing, but I think they feel like they really wanted to have a manager that communicated with them and that they could relate to, and that's who Terry Francona appears to be.
That's tapped, and Altuve will track it to his left and toss over to Laird. To end a very long first inning for Astros fans. 8 runs scoring for the Indians on 8 hits, and they lead 8-0 after 1/2 inning. By Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. On this gorgeous night in downtown Houston, Houston native left-hander Scott Kazmir comes in for his first start with the Indians, just coming off the disabled list to make this start tonight. He has not won a game in the major league since 2010 as a member of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Here's the lineup he'll be facing tonight. Cole Porter has put Jose Altuve into the leadoff spot as usual at second base. It's Justin Maxwell in center field. Brandon Laird just up from AAA Oklahoma City is the first baseman, with Chris Carter in left field, Carlos Pena the DH, Carlos Corporan the catcher, Ronnie Cedeno at shortstop, Matt Dominguez at third base, Brandon Barnes in right field.
Left-hander Scott Kazmir, local product on the hill for the Indians, making his debut on the season. Last year, pitched as one of the Sugarland Skeeters, trying to make his way back to the big leagues. It has worked out, though he has had a little injury problem since spring training. So again, his first appearance on this season. Last time pitching, that came a year ago with the Angels, and he pitched in just one ball game, 1 2/3 innings in that outing.
Jose Altuve has put together a 5-game hitting streak. He has the best batting average among Major League second basemen, .358 right now. And he has really feasted on left-handers. There is strike one to Altuve, has a .403 on base average. The Astros trail 8-0 as they come for the first time to the plate. Fouled back, 0-2. That is a huge deficit, but they have 9 innings worth of at-bats coming up. Kazmir has had one rehab start in the minor leagues. He went 5 innings in that one, throwing 62 pitches. So he'll be monitored carefully. That's a liner to left field. And Bradley off his glove and then off the wall. And Altuve's hustling to second. And he will slide in to open this game with either an error or a 2-base hit, but he hustled all the way. Bradley certainly misplayed it.
He did misplay it, but this line drive will force many an outfielder to misplay a ball. Directly over the head of the outfielder on a line drive is the most difficult play, a lot of outfielders will tell you.
It was hit well.
It was that, and it freezes the left fielder.
That was an error. And that's the first error for Michael Bradley. Justin Maxwell taking that pitch, ball one. Looks like we have a change at shortstop for the Tribe. Maxwell at .254 with 1 homer, has driven in 5. Mike Aviles has checked in at shortstop for Cleveland. As Drupal Cabrera went 1 for 2 in that first inning. He ran the bases when he got a single, went from first to third, and then scored, and then he grounded out for the last out. So he checks out of this ball game, and it's Aviles in the game. Maxwell looks at that one from Kazmir, and it's a 2-ball 1-strike count for J-Max, who had put together an 8-game hitting streak. Since then, he's tailed off some. .254, 1 homer and 5 runs batted in.
For Jose Altuve with that line shot, home cooking doesn't exactly play out for him.
In the air, and the second sacker heads for the right field line, Jason Kipnis, but behind him it's Nick Swisher with the catch. 1 out.
And not a sure thing catch right there for Nick Swisher, who stands just frozen before coming up with the big smile and then heading back to right.
Quite a spring for Brandon Laird.
Brandon Laird just tore it up, and when he got sent down, was told that he didn't deserve to be sent down. And Bo Porter, very honest in his appraisal. Clearly, Brandon Laird did all a guy could do to make a big league club. It was a numbers situation.
And then he went to Oklahoma City after a .328 spring and hit .353 with 18 hits, including 2 homers there and 51 at bats. So anything but sulking. He just got to work and produced some fine results.
Just go do the job. Don't talk, don't whine. Get it done, and you'll find yourself playing soon.
And sure enough, he is back quickly, quicker than he thought, he said. That's because J.D. Martinez is on the disabled list now, and that leads to Fernando Martinez coming back up. And so the Astros are getting hit with some injuries now.
Brandon Laird during the spring was vying for the first and third base spots. Well, Matt Dominguez has been pretty solid at third base. I think that's safe to say. So that was locked up, and first base was loaded.
2 balls and 1 strike, and with Brett Wallace going to Oklahoma City, that opens up some playing time at first for Brandon Laird. The Bull Porters Club making some changes here on the fly, including left-handed reliever Travis Blackley. And Laird was promoted to the game last night. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Xavier Cedeno had been designated for assignment. Laird was a non-roster player, and that's when he got promoted. Laird was with the New York Yankees. They drafted him in 07. Kazmir gets a strikeout for out number 2.
Kazmir turns consistently there to the off-speed pitches to get the strikeout. And the defense behind Kazmir, Carlos Santana the catcher, around the infield Mark Reynolds, Jason Kipnis as Drupal Cabrera was the starter, and we mentioned Mike Aviles now at shortstop, Lonnie Chisenhall at third, in the outfield Drew Stubbs in center, Nick Swisher will be in right, and in left Michael Brantley.
Chris Carter is the batter. He was 0 for 3 in last night's game. Carter had a walk in the 3rd inning. Kazmir throws, and there's strike 1. He was pitching, as Ash mentioned, last year for the Sugar Land Skeeters, an independent team in Sugar Land, Texas, a suburb of Houston. He made 13 starts for the Skeeters, working his way back to the major leagues this year. Jason Lane also pitched for that club, the former outfielder with the Astros, and he's on a minor league contract in the Minnesota Twins organization.
Scott Kazmir, when he was drafted in early years in the big leagues, a very hard thrower. In fact, 2007, 239 strikeouts in just 206 innings. Well, pitching with Tampa Bay, he was with Tampa Bay in their lean years and missed out on the big years.
He's a 2-time All-Star. Has 66 major league wins, 61 losses. Ground ball to third. And the throw across to the stretching Reynolds from Chisenhall takes care of out number 3. No runs, no hits, an error, and a man left. 8-0 Indians.
Quote of the day: I don't aspire to be anybody but who I've always been. I just want young guys to see a guy who works hard, who has great respect for the game, who has team goals that matter. And you hope that's enough. And of course, that's from Jeff Bagwell, one of the greats, not only in the Astros history, but in the history of this great game. Jeff Bagwell was some kind of special player. And if he popped up, you watch him run home to second base, it was consistent and impressive. But so were these long blasts.
One of the retired numbers, number 5 atop the scoreboard, out in right center field. Inning number 2 begins with switch hitting Nick Swisher. Swisher had the RBI double to right center in the first inning. And there's ball 1 for Dallas Keuchel. The Tribe sent 12 batters to the plate in the first with 8 runs on 8 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike. They had 5 extra base hits, a Reynolds 3-run homer, and 4 doubles, including the 2-run shot by Brantley. Now this one loops over shortstop. That's a hit into left center field for Swisher, and he's 2 for 2 in the early going.
Yeah, when they're going to fall, they're going to fall. And that's just all there is to it. You can hit them off the end of the bat, off the handle, maybe on the knob sometimes. It appears to be, at least early on, one of those nights for the Tribe.
There's their production in that first inning. Keuchel worked 3 scoreless innings in his last appearance Tuesday night in Oakland. And he comes into this with 6 consecutive scoreless innings, covering 3 appearances. And Giambi looks at ball 1. Dallas is 25 years old. He's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Went to the University of Arkansas. The Astros drafted him in the 7th round in 2009. The shift is on for Giambi. It's a 2-ball, no strike count. Dallas last year had very good numbers at Minute Maid Park, making 10 starts in this ballpark with a 3-3 record and a 2.95 ERA. All 3 of his major league wins right here last year. It's a 3-ball, no strike count on Giambi.
Following that base hit by Nick Swisher, he stood at first base and kind of wrapped his arm around first baseman for the Astros tonight, Brandon Laird, and the 2 were together in the Yankees camp at some time, and so I'm sure a relationship formed there.
Yeah. 3-1.
Maybe saying, you know, I've seen what you can do and you're going to make it. Just keep it all positive.
That's ball 4, and now runners are at first and second with nobody out. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Now it's Santana coming up. Santana walked and scored in the first inning. Travis Blackley just joined the Astros tonight, just activated from the 15-day disabled list. He is another left-handed long man. He's been out with a left shoulder strain. He made 1 rehab appearance for AAA Oklahoma City on Thursday, working 2 innings. So he is available for use tonight. Paul Clemens is the right-handed long man. So the Astros do have some relievers who can stay in a game for a while. Reiner Cruz has been piling up appearances. There's strike 1. Cruz has pitched 9 times already in the first 16 games. On a night like this, the way things have gone early, and managers always like to put together their bullpen for a given game from the back forward. So it would be unusual to see a Reiner Cruz unless there's a major turnaround in this score. One of those nights, you know, sometimes a manager has an agenda. Ash, you manage, and that agenda is, well, I don't want to use Reiner Cruz unless I have to tonight.
Exactly on the money, and the guys out in the bullpen know it. If you're not the closer or setup guy, you're already trying to get yourself loose because you know that call's coming for you some point in the evening.
That ball goes foul past Brad Mills, the third base coach, former Astros skipper. Very happy to be back in Houston. His phone was ringing at 8 a.m. They arrived at 3 a.m.
That wasn't the good part of the trip so far. He was still sleeping.
But no, he absolutely loved his stay here. Now back with Terry Francona after being his bench coach in Boston. He's his third base coach in Cleveland. That's tapped near the third base line. Brad Mills is almost, he's very close to the Indians dugout. He's giving himself a lot of perspective. The way he backs off that third base line, trying to get an angle to help him make a decision with that runner at second base.
If you're that runner at second base, the best thing a third base coach can do for you is move down the line toward home plate. And that's what Mills is doing. He's pre-setting up. Maybe he's figured I don't have the wheels and the quickness anymore. Well, let's do it with the positioning.
Oh, he's crouched down almost as if he's a base runner.
He ought to. I think what that is all about is he knows he has to react quickly, turn and look at the hitter, because he's positioned himself without a glove about 60 feet from home plate. That's not a good place to be with a right-hand hitter, especially.
You almost shake hands with Terry Francona from where he is.
Yeah, you watch. He reacts, turns toward the hitter.
Dominguez drops it and throws late, and that's his first error. He had made 57 chances this year without making an error. And it's one of those games when things like that, the concentration can wane a little bit, and he just did not make an easy play.
No, he's so gifted with the glove. He tends to go after balls one-handed and handles them so routinely, but you could see the eyes had already turned towards second base where he was going to throw, trying to set up a double play, and it just didn't happen. In fact, I think he may have even been wondering, should he apply a tag to Swisher. That semi-slowly hit ground ball kind of creates that in-between.
It sure does. Reynolds, who ripped the 3-run homer to the Landry's Crawford boxes, takes ball one. A single walk and error. Things spiraling against the Astros here. That's a broken bat pop-up into shallow center field. Altuve out. Altuve with a sliding attempt does not make a catch. 1 run scores to make it 9-0 on a pop fly single with a broken bat of Reynolds, who's driven in 4.
Well, as we've already said, it's one of those nights, it appears, for the Indians where you can shatter your bat on top of everything else we discussed and still come up with hits that drive in runs. It's a great effort by Altuve and Ronnie Cedeno. Altuve ultimately trying to lay out to make the play, but there are those nights.
Lonnie Chisenhall double to right field. There's strike 1 to Chisenhall. Philip Humber's ERA, including this game, went from 2.89 to 6.63. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Keuchel.
It's not fair to pitchers. For a hitter, once you establish some numbers on the year, and it's still early, but you might have an 0 for 4, 0 for 5 night where you drop 8, 10 points, or this time of the year maybe a little more. But for a pitcher, it can be a disaster statistically.
2-1. Yeah, sometimes a short reliever will come in and give up a crooked number, have 5 appearances for the year, and that'll just blow up his ERA. Foul ball makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That left-handed reliever that makes about 60 plus appearances on the year, but only about 40 innings, and so you have one rough one in there, maybe a couple. Just destruction on the year.
Keuchel's thrown 29 pitches. He threw 38 pitches in 3 scoreless innings last time. He gets a swing and a miss from Chisenhall, and that's out number 1.
Well, that's not a pitch you're going to do much with over the course of your career, and as a pitcher, Dallas Keuchel hopes he gets some swings on it.
28-year-old Drew Stubbs from Atlanta, Texas, reached on that infield hit up the middle earlier in the first inning. Strike 1 to Stubbs. Very talented player in terms of power and speed. Indians parted with Shin-Soo Choo in the trade to get him. There's a shot into right field. That'll score Giambi. Stop sign for Santana to make it 10-0. Stubbs with the RBI single drives in his 4th.
How's your scorebook coming, Bronny?
It's a mess. It's a hot mess, Ash.
You hope for those messes, but on the flip side, you hope the club you're covering is just having one of those nights. Boy, that was pretty hitting. Nicely done defensively if you look at everything that way. Throw comes in right to the cutoff man.
Asdrubal Cabrera left the game with a left wrist contusion. Just got that announcement. Now Michael Brantley. Brantley looks at ball one. Brantley batting for the second time in the first inning. Had the 2-run double to right center field. So now if you're keeping a scorecard, this is where it gets tricky, right? You had his first inning at bat, his second one in the second inning. Now you have his second inning at bat in the third inning on your scorecard. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It looks uglier than that on my card here.
Yeah. It's a 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Michael Brantley, the son of a former Major League player, Mickey Brantley.
Michael's a good defensive player. It was uncharacteristic of him to make an error like he did on Altuve's ball. He's played a lot of center field, right, Ash?
Yeah, and he runs well. He looks like a center fielder, a guy that can go get it.
Well, a relatively unfamiliar ballpark. And he just kind of froze on that line drive. He didn't get his shoulders turned.
I'll contend that that line drive at but over an outfielder is the one that will just freeze over and over many an outfielder. And if you don't actually get your glove on it, you wind up seeing the hit called. And Altuve just simply didn't benefit.
Right. Brantley's going to turn 26 in mid-May from Bellevue, Washington. He takes a walk to force in a run. And it's 11-0. Well, 3 runs batted in the game for Brantley.
Well, it really gets ugly when, as a lefty, you walk a left-handed hitter with the bases loaded and start adding to this mess early.
Santana scores. Jason Kipnis follows. Kipnis is 1 for 2. Well, the Indians in that AL Central are going to have to battle some talented teams like Detroit and the White Sox, and Kansas City, to many, is a much improved team this year. Twins seem to be a ways away. That's strike 1.
And yet the Twins have been handing out some tough days for other clubs of late.
They have. I know the Tribe, with that 5-10 start, is hoping for much better days ahead. Losing last night 3-2, and perhaps in the process losing starter Brett Myers. He is suffering from tendonitis in his right forearm, and he'll be heading back to Cleveland tomorrow for an exam. Bouncer Keuchel. He comes home for the first play. Corcoran to first and hit the runner and bounces away. Now another run is coming in to score to make it 12-0.
We have seen some really snappy double plays by the Astros defensively of late, but this was not snappy. The one hopper back to the mound led to Keuchel kind of taking his time. Not a good hard throw toward Corcoran, and then Corcoran took his time, quite frankly. Watch how it sets up. A little bit of time taken, the throw not great, and then this throw winds up hitting the runner. And you have to say Kipnis was inside the line, but going right for the bag at that last instant.
Good point. Corcoran draws the error on the throw, and it's a 12-0 game. There's a strike. Mike Aviles batting for the first time for the injured Asdrubal Cabrera. Aviles got tied up on that, and it's a strike on appeal to Dan Bellino at first. No balls, 2 strikes. 4 runs have come home here in the second after an 8-run first for a 12-0 Cleveland lead. 250 for Aviles. They played for Boston last year. And also has Kansas City on his resume. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, he's a guy who can play either spot on the left side of that infield. Up the middle by Keuchel's glove, diving Cedeno. He can't stop it. 13-0 Cleveland. RBI single of Aviles.
I don't recall the last time my score sheet wound up having 2 straight innings to start a ball game that went beyond the standard 9 hitters or less.
It's pretty crazy right now. Brantley coming home with the 13th run. Keuchel narrowly missed catching that line drive, and then it went past a diving Cedeno for hit number 12 of the game. 45 pitches for Keuchel. Nobody warming up for the Astros. And the batter is Swisher. Swisher has 2 hits, a double and a single, and 2 runs scored. Strike for Keuchel. Dallas spent about half the season at Oklahoma City last year. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's where he started this season, but he was recalled quickly on April 6th. Pop back, and I'm going to play for Swisher. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Swisher has a lot of enjoyment playing this game. Frequently has a smile on his face. Indians hoping he puts a lot of smiles on their fans' faces, and a game like this has lifted him to .302 in the batting average category. Last year he drove in 93 for the Yankees while hitting 24 homers. He pulls this one into the left field corner. Kipnis around third to score to make it 14-0. Stop sign at third. And it's an RBI double for Swisher, his 3rd hit of this game, and 2nd run batted in to give him 8 for the year.
Again, the case of an Indians hitter just hitting it where they ain't. So many nights you can hit the ball well as a club, but you hit it at people, and then there's that rare night where you just find the gaps.
Swisher 3 for 3 here in the 2nd inning. 3 hits by the 2nd inning. That's something every hitter would love to have for a start on the night. 49 pitches for Keuchel. After the visit by Corcoran, still no action in the Astros bullpen. And it's Giambi coming up with runners at 2nd and 3rd. 14 runs on 13 hits for the Tribe. Giambi drove in 2 with his double to right center. Then he walked and scored. Strike to Giambi. And these Indians hitters, who have combined for a .230 batting average, just are feasting on the pitches they're seeing tonight. And for a lot of them, it's catch-up time in the statistical categories. Check swing roller stays fair for a time, and then it goes foul. By the time Keuchel could get to it, it had turned foul. And things are really multiplying here for the Astros. Balls that might have on another night stayed fair are going foul, and things of that nature. They're just out of the reach of some diving players, looping over the heads of others. Some other balls are crushed.
The Indians started the night 25th among the 30 major league clubs in runs scored. 56 runs, and they've already tacked on 14 to that figure.
It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. That's a huge percentage increase in runs scored for the season in 2 innings of 1 game.
And they've got a chance to jump right into the middle of the pack in terms of runs scored with tonight's game.
Popped up. All 4 infielders moving in that direction. It's Cedeno calling and catching it. And in a 6-run 2nd inning, the Tribe moves out in front 14-0.
Indians 14-0 as we head to the bottom of the second. Fernando Martinez in the dugout now as he was recalled from AAA Oklahoma City. That's because of last night's injury to JD Martinez. He left the game with a right knee sprain. You see it here. He said it just kind of gave out on him on this at-bat. And about 3:45 today, he said he was day-to-day, didn't really know what the plan was. About an hour later, the team told him he was going on the DL. After learning the news, I got a chance to talk to him. He said he's just really disappointed, but he understood the decision. Now that he's on the disabled list, he can take a few days, stay off of it, and then take his time making sure it's healthy before returning. He's also had this injury before, guys, his freshman year in college. He said he was wearing cleats with the metal, and then he changed to plastic, and it hadn't happened since. But he's familiar with this injury, which is a positive.
Thanks, Julia. Carlos Pena against Scott Kazmir. That's strike one, leading off the home second inning. Pena with 2 homers, 6 runs batted in, has 4 doubles, and a .236 batting average. Kazmir throws in. It's strike 2. Pena last night was 0 for 3 with a walk and scored a run. He rode home on the JD Martinez 2-run homer. Carlos continues to get an awful lot of playing time. He hit .303 on the long road trip with 2 homers and drove in 6. He cracks this one toward the left field corner, and he beat that shift. This one rattles off the wall, and Pena on the throw from Brantley beats it. He's in with a double, his 5th. That was a sharply hit ball the other way. We've seen him go that way a few times. We've seen him bunt, and that one really got out of the infield in a hurry.
Yeah, I don't think Carlos Pena is overly concerned about a shift on him. He actually, you could argue, turns into a better hitter. Lining balls toward the left side, hitting ground balls that way in the bunch you talk about. This was just gorgeous.
Hit number 1 for the Astros puts him at second. Carlos Corporan following. .250 his average with 1 RBI. This is his 4th start at catcher. There's strike 1. So for the Astros, who trail 14-0, and Scott Kazmir has almost been handed a win. Just a matter of trying to get some things going here and get him out of the game. That's the first objective, to try to get into that Indians bullpen and then see what might happen. And at least try to get some hitters a good night of it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One of the things that will happen with pitchers when you get a big lead early is you'll be told, reminded, just throw fastballs, throw strikes. Well, that plays right into the hands of the opposing hitter. So we'll see how Kazmir goes at this. And he's pumping fastballs for the moment. There will be times when the skip or the pitching coach will say, forget that stuff. You go ahead and pitch the way you would normally pitch.
His injury was a right rib cage strain, and he got that injury playing catch on opening day. He was to have been the 5th starter, and that put him on the DL. This one gets away, and Santana will retrieve it after the wild pitch. Pena going to third base. And the count running 2-2. And if you're Kazmir, and there you see how he struggled with control in 09 and in 10. And you're shooting for your first win since 2010. It's a matter of needing to go 5 innings, so that plays into that strategy of throwing a lot of fastballs for strikes. Ash.
Oftentimes when you see numbers like that, increasing struggles with command, it can relate to injuries that a guy's had, and Scott Kazmir has had his share.
Well, in addition to playing for the Sugarland Skeeters, and he made 14 starts for them, he then went to Puerto Rico and played winter ball. Edwin Rodriguez was his manager, former Major League manager with the Marlins, who managed the Puerto Rican team in the World Baseball Classic, and is the AA skipper in the Indians farm system. So then he signed as a free agent in January, and here he is facing Ronnie Cedeno, who's on a 4-game hitting streak. And that's ball 1. Cedeno at .273 is looking for his first RBI. Ronnie grew up in Venezuela. He said his older brother played baseball, but then gave it up to go to school. Fouled away, and it's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. And Kazmir, a first-round pick, as we mentioned, in 02 of the New York Mets, was drafted in the middle of that first round. He went to Cy Falls High School in Northwest Houston. And his teammate, right-hander Clint Everts, also was a first-round pick that year from Cy Falls. 2 balls and a strike. First reached the big leagues in 04 with Tampa Bay, and that first All-Star year in 06 for him, he was 10-8 with a 3.24 ERA. Shut down the last 6 weeks of that year with a shoulder problem. Then in 08, another All-Star year, a 12-8 season with a 3.49. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That fastball rode pretty well. 91. He's been up to 92 this evening. But again, at one time, he could go mid-90s steady.
His only other start against the Astros was in 08. Brandon Backey beat him 3-2. Foul ball goes out of play, and in that game, Kazmir went 5 2/3 and gave up 3 runs. And the Angels released him in that 2011 season. And for a pitcher who's still not that old, he's got 29, it wasn't time to hang him up yet. Liner goes into the seats. Right over Jeff Tremblay. Still a 2-2 count as he ducked. Well, there's a guy who really follows the game of baseball. Wow. He is just absolutely voracious in his appetite for everything that happens on all fronts in baseball.
How about his enthusiasm on the field?
Yeah. He's into it. On the ground, and there's a backhand play. Aviles off balance throw. That's a beauty. Gorgeous play as the run scores to make it 14-1. But the Tribe will exchange a run for an out at this point. And Cedeno gets his first RBI as an Astro.
Now the crowd will mock cheer likely. Enthusiastic about that first run of the night, but watch this play. Backhand, do you plant or throw on the move? He chooses on the move and gets it done, and that is very tough.
Matt Dominguez with ball 1 coming his way begins the night at 2:36. No homers, 5 runs batted in for Matt. Kazmir working pretty quickly, misses with that one. It's a 2-ball, no strike count.
I think of that play at shortstop by Aviles like a quarterback running to his right and then throwing back to a receiver going down the left sideline.
Yeah. Not that easy. 3-0 the count. Kazmir had major control issues early in his career. And now Dominguez walks on 4 pitches. First walk of the night for Kazmir, who in his first full season in 05 walked 100 in 186 innings. And the pitching coach of the Indians, Mickey Callaway, said this spring that Kazmir, who was trying to make the club as a non-roster invitee, knows that he can be a #1 starter again, and that's what he was trying to show. Brandon Barnes is the batter. Fouled away, strike 1. Brandon was pressed into service last night on the knee injury to J.D. Martinez, who came to the plate with a 1-1 count. And after Martinez had homered in the 2nd inning, this was his 2nd time up in the 4th. On a 1-2 pitch, he singled to left center, and then he got a bunt hit later going 2 for 3 to get the average up to 350. No balls and 2 strikes to Brandon Barnes.
In case you're scoring at home, yes, this is Brandon Barnes' first at bat of the evening. Nick Swisher has 3 hits.
Right. Pretty crazy start to this one. 1-2 with the 8-run Indian first, followed up by a 6-run second. And by the way, in that 6-run second, 2 of the runs were earned against Dallas Keuchel. Well, Barnes has been starting against left-handed pitching for the most part. 2 balls, 2 strikes. An excellent defensive player. He also got the call in the starting lineup against a right-handed pitcher in Oakland, and that was Bartolo Colon on Wednesday.
Yeah, Swisher and Mark Reynolds first baseman for the Tribe tonight. Each have 5 total bases on the evening. And again, first at bat of the night for Brandon Barnes.
It's driven to right field. Hit well with Swisher going back. And that one gets into the seats. Opposite field homer for Brandon Barnes. Number 1 of the season for Barnes. And it's 14-3. Barnes hit 1 homer last year for the Astros in 98 at-bats. So there's big league homer number 2 for Brandon.
And Brandon Barnes says, hey, I've got 4 total bases on the night myself. Now, this is what can happen quickly when a pitcher is throwing nothing but fastballs and the hitters know it. And going the other way, Brandon Barnes takes advantage of a rather shallow right field straightaway.
And picks up 2 runs batted in, 14-3. Jose Altuve looks at ball 1. A nice moment for Brandon Barnes, who's worked so hard to arrive at his first Major League opening night. He got here with that. There's a little ball into right field that'll loop in for a hit for Altuve. Not hit very hard, but he puts it in for a single and a 6-game hitting streak in front of Swisher. Flipped it over the infield.
Now, I don't know how the Indians feel about this, watching their pitcher go out there with a 14-0 lead and throwing just a slew of fastballs and starting to get hit around. But I have always preferred in this scenario to say, just go ahead and pitch the way you want to pitch your ball game. Don't get caught into what people have said for years, the way you should pitch with a big lead. It's not a macho experience.
Justin Maxwell looks at ball 1. You might have noticed on that graphic that Jose Altuve reached 250 hits earlier in his Major League career than either Craig Biggio or Jeff Bagwell in terms of games played.
That's rather impressive.
Sure is. Foul back by J-Max for a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Awfully good swing by Maxwell.
Altuve actually achieved that with his 3-hit game Wednesday in Oakland. That was his 219th game, 250 hits. Biggio got to 250 in 287 games. Bagwell did it in 254 games. But they didn't have a bull named after them, did they? 2 balls and a strike.
Let me check my notes on that one.
Okay.
I'm going to go with no, though.
Brad Mills has named one of his bulls for Altuve. He takes off. Here's a throw from Santana. And out. For a big out for the Tribe to end this 2nd inning. Altuve's gunned down at second base. 3-run score. Barnes with a 2-run homer. 14-3 Indians.
are trying to claw back. MLB.tv is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribers today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.tv Premium. Visit MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere.
14-3 game now, and here's the first swing of the third inning from Carlos Santana. He sends one deep down the left field line, and that is a home run for Santana. Number 3 of the year to make it 15-3. He is scoring now for the third time in this game. He had walked and scored, and then reached on an error and scored. So he scored 3 runs in each of the first 3 innings of this game.
You know, I mentioned that pitchers who are trailing, or rather who are leading 14-0, for example, are told a lot of times, just throw fastballs, go after the hitters, challenge somebody. Well, it's true on the other side too, and Dallas Keuchel finds himself in that tough spot.
And Mark Reynolds looks at strike one. Reynolds hit a 3-run homer in the first inning, then added an RBI single in the second. Reynolds looks at that one. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. And Santana, the slugging catcher, now has 3 home runs and 7 runs batted in the young season. 2 balls and a strike for Dallas Keuchel. The Indians now have hit 20 home runs. They're just about in the middle of the pack in the American League for long balls. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 15 runs home already, with nobody out in the third. 3 balls, 1 strike. Philip Humber threw 30 pitches, 18 for strikes in his 1/3 of an inning. He allowed 8 hits and 8 runs, walking 1 without a strikeout. Retired the first man he faced, and then that was it for him with outs in this game. A shot foul. 9 straight Indians reaching base in that first inning after that initial out. Currently have 15 runs on 14 hits with 1 error, and they've left 3.
And if you are that fan that says, I love offensive baseball, you're having a great time tonight.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Oh, we were talking last night about all the shutouts in April. Major League Baseball already has surpassed its shutout total from April of last year, and this is only April 20th. But there are several reasons for that. One is the weather's been colder. Tonight, the weather is picture perfect, and the hitters are feasting. But there's a strikeout on Reynolds.
We had a couple of cold nights up in Seattle that turned out to be very good offensive nights for the Astros.
That's true. Reynolds over anxious on that one, chasing it. Chisenhall next. Chisenhall is 1 for 2. He looks at a strike. The Indians came into the night with 3 bench players, and they're already using Mike Aviles off their bench. Hit by the pitch, Chisenhall. Cord Phelps, a switch-hitting infielder, was optioned down to the minor leagues before this game to get Scott Kazmir on the 25-man roster.
Otherwise, we could have seen 4 switch hitters in that Indians lineup. It doesn't seem logical that Dallas Keuchel was trying to send a message right here. You never know in one of these games.
Drew Stubbs is 2 for 2. He has an RBI and 2 runs scored. More likely he's trying to emphasize pitching inside, which he's been able to do more successfully this year than he did a year ago, and he learned a lot from that. And just missing his spots trying to get inside. There's an art to that, Ash. You know, some pitchers just stay away about 90% of the time.
It's much easier when you miss. You don't almost hit somebody. You tend to get more calls off the outside corner.
out to right field. Barnes. 2 down. If your TV provider does not yet carry CSN, call and tell them you want your CSN. To get the facts and learn how you can help, go to iwantcsn.com. We are working diligently to get CSN Houston on all TV providers. 15-3 ball game, 2 outs. Top of the 3rd inning, and now it's Brantley. Michael has been up 3 times already, has a 2-run double and a bases loaded walk. Had 2 runs batted in when this game started. He's driven in 3, and now he shoots one by the 3rd baseman Dominguez into left field.
Yeah, gaps in the defenses tonight are getting pummeled. And the thing about this game is you may come back and watch tomorrow night's game and it'll be everything right at everybody. But that's pretty hitting for the left-hand hitter.
Well, if you're keeping that scorecard, this is the 3rd straight inning in which you've had to move to the next inning on your scorecard for a batter at least. Kipnis looks at ball 1 in the dirt. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Kipnis. Chris Antonetti's the general manager of the Tribe. He fired Manny Acta, who had been the manager for 3 years, and brought in Francona. They won 2 World Series for the Red Sox during his 8-year tenure there. Antonetti set his sights on free agents. Went after Shane Victorino, didn't get him. Kevin Youkilis, didn't get him. He did land Fred Myers and Nick Swisher. Low-cost acquisition. Scott Kazmir pitching tonight. And he traded for Drew Stubbs. Got 2 relievers, Matt Albers and Brian Shaw. Got Trevor Bauer, who had been a first-round pick of the Diamondbacks. The Indians are revamped since last year.
But you may remember last year, and I believe the year before under Manny Acta, the Indians got off to quality starts on their season. It was the second half of the year that just went haywire.
Gone is Grady Sizemore, who's injury prone. He had those microfracture knee injuries, didn't he?
He was one of those guys when he showed up on the scene it appeared destined for greatness. And the injuries you talk about and everything else that came along, it just didn't work out.
Hafner was with them for years. He's now a Yankee. 3-2 with 2 outs. The runners go. A Keuchel strikeout on Kipnis ends it in the 3rd. 1 more run scoring on the Santana homer. Now the Astros trailing 15-3 come up with Maxwell, Laird, and Carter.
Two of the set. And now our AT&T tweet of the game from @YourKO. At Justin Maxwell 44, it says, 2 steals, 1 inning. Should be a book title. You base thief, you. Great win. And of course, Justin Maxwell was kind of airing it out on the bases last night and had himself a special night with the bats.
On the other hand, Jose Altuve was trying to move up on a pitch in the dirt, and he was gunned down to end the 2nd inning with Maxwell at the plate. So J-Max gets a fresh count here in the 3rd, taking ball 1. He had a fly ball to right in the 1st inning. A lot of family and friends here tonight watching Scott Kazmir pitch. In the air and on the left side of the infield, they're moving. The shortstop Aviles into left field, and whoa, he does a roll as he makes the catch. That was acrobatic.
Generally speaking, a major league shortstop will make it look a little simpler than that. We don't have the flags up in center field. They are posted down below, and you don't get maybe a true read on what the wind could be doing up above, but Mike Aviles is saying it's blowing out.
Hop up on a French roll. You get fries with that?
That's dressing it up a bit.
Now Brandon Laird, and he looks at ball 1. Brother of Gerald Laird, longtime major league catcher. Struck out his first time up.
You know, if you're going to get that call up to the big leagues, you might as well do it on a night like this when it's not exactly pitching as normal. You get a lot of pitches to hit on this kind of evening. There's one.
And there's one that's going to leave. Brandon Laird with a long ball. Number 2 in his major league career. Welcome back to the big leagues. He tattooed the ball through spring training, continued to do that for the Oklahoma City Redhawks, and now in his 2nd at bat with the Astros in 2013, he goes deep.
Well, this game can be rather easy for hitters when you're looking fastball, get fastball, and it finds the heart of the plate, and you're just airing it out. And that's what seemed to need up here in this at bat for Brandon Laird. And nice to see for a young man who did have that great spring.
15-4 now. And there's ball 1 to Chris Carter. Kazmir is at 51 pitches. 28 have been strikes. 2nd home run for the Astros. Brandon Barnes hit an opposite field shot. That was a 388-footer. Barnes hit his 340 to right field. Newcomer Travis Blackley is warming up in the bullpen for Houston. It's 1-1 to Carter with Pena on deck. 2 balls and a strike. Kazmir in his 1 rehab start 5 days ago won for Columbus 4-1 in 5 innings. And he gave up 1 unearned run on 5 hits. He threw 62 pitches in that one. 41 were strikes. Now 3-1 to Carter. All back by Chris. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Terry Francona would have to feel good if Kazmir could get into the win column for his ball club right now with the uncertainty about Brett Myers. And just buying some time until Trevor Bauer can return. Bauer pitched well at AAA in his most recent outing. He has a big time arm.
Scott Kazmir, the likelihood is about 75 pitches tonight. He's at 57, and no guarantee that he gets through 5 innings to get a W.
Well, he walks Carter here. That makes it less likely. If those walks mount, that's his 2nd.
Spend your Cinco de Mayo at Minute Maid Park. First pitch against the Tigers is at 3:10, and 10,000 fans will receive a Los Astros t-shirt courtesy of Goya. Come on out early for the Cinco de Mayo Street Festival. That's from 12 till 3 in the afternoon, presented by Budweiser. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS to get your tickets, and you can do it right now.
Runner at first, Carter. Carlos Pena, the batter. And he hit a hard double on the ground to left field and came around to score in the second. Now Chisenhall is the only infielder still between second and third. Looks like he's maybe a little bit closer to the line than he was last time Carlos came up.
Certainly have made an adjustment. Kind of right in that slot where Carlos hit it last time. We'll see if Carlos can do a little cross up again on the Tribe.
Ubaldo Jimenez will start for the Tribe tomorrow at 110. He's 0-2 with an 11.25 ERA in 3 starts. Two balls, no strikes. The ace of the Indian staff, Justin Masterson, has started out 3-1 with a 1.67. He's worked 27 innings in his 4 starts.
What do you think of baseball's unwritten rules about what hitters are allowed to do and what they're not?
I struggle with it sometimes.
I certainly do. You're the Astros right now. You're down 11 runs. You've got a man aboard. You're trying to creep back into this ball game. And the unwritten rules would say to Carlos Pena, despite what the defense does, don't bunt the ball. Don't try to get that hit for yourself as it's assumed. But in reality, if you can get aboard right here and help move this inning along, create some kind of a frame, give your club a chance. But unwritten rules say don't do it.
I just think it's all about getting base runners behind like this early.
I completely agree.
Whatever it takes to do that.
I've never been a fan of these rules that somebody decided needed to be in place.
Now back-to-back walks for Kazmir. Bring up Corcoran with 2 on and 1 out.
Brandon Laird with that second major league home run, first on the year, and into the dugout. And hey guys, nice to be your teammate.
Silent treatment.
He knows the role.
Yeah. Smiles all around. Mr. Laird. You know, it's really good to see a guy who was so productive in spring training, and as you mentioned, through no fault of his own, did not quite make the opening day roster. Do well at AAA, get a chance, and then deliver.
It's great stuff.
Corcoran struck out earlier. Ball 1.
Kazmir shows that he won't throw just fastballs right now. A changeup as a starter.
The way things are going for him, homer, walk, walk. He needs to come up with something here in his mind. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, I don't see him getting through his 5 innings needed for the win here this evening. Still working on a 1-out situation in the 3rd inning and finds himself at 65 pitches.
That's fouled by Corcoran. It's a 1-2 count.
Nice play by one of the faithful here at Minute Maid Park. Protect the family. And yeah, we know who's boss.
And protect that Altuve bobblehead. This one gets away, and the runners are advancing. Santana with a throw to third, pretty close. But Carter had made that decision, and he moved over on the wild pitch, as did Pena.
Well, it doesn't hurt to pick up a couple of runs here in this 3rd inning for the Astros. And put yourself in that who knows scenario. Wild pitch certainly helps in that endeavor. Carlos Santana has been bouncing around very well.
Through on the run, but both runners move up on the wild pitch. And Corcoran strikes out. He's tagged out for out number 2. It'll be Cedeno next. 3rd strikeout for Kazmir now with the 15-4 lead.
Ball obviously hit the dirt. Tag out there ultimately by Santana.
Cedeno grounded out and got an RBI on that play in the 2nd inning.
Well, if you want to think winning tonight and you're the Astros, this is kind of a big moment. You'd love again to pick up a couple of runs right here. And yes, you're still down by 9 runs, but to me, you kind of crawled back in if you can do that in the 3rd inning.
Yep. 2-run single here makes it 15-6. Brings up Matt Dominguez. In the dirt for a ball. It's 1-2, and also forces the Cleveland manager to think strongly about when he's going to go to his bullpen. Nobody warming up yet.
Well, I imagine Terry Francona is also juggling how many pitches he enables his left-hander to go tonight, a guy who's had a lot of injuries on his career.
The shot on the ground off the glove of Aviles. That'll drive in a couple to make it 15-6. Sharply hit 2-run single by Ronnie Cedeno. That moves his hitting streak to 5 games. It's a 3 RBI game for him, his first 3 of the season.
You know, sometimes it can feel meaningless. It's 15-6. But I don't think Bo Porter would agree with that assessment. I think this is, okay, let's go, guys. We're in a ball game. Good piece of hitting. Hit it sharply, take your chances.
Now there'll be a mound visit coming up. Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, watching Scott Kazmir struggle in this inning. And that pop-up that might have dropped, Aviles made the tumbling catch on it for out number 1. Then a Laird homer, back-to-back walks, a strikeout, now a 2-run single have caused this score to go to 15-6 in a freewheeling game at Minute Maid Park. Now, the Astros came into this game hitting .200 at home for 7 games. They had scored 20 runs in their first 7 home games. So if nothing else, they're having a better game offensively, and they have kind of a breakout game so far, with promise of more to come from Matt Dominguez now.
I've been in that mound visit that just took place, and sometimes the pitching coach says, look, I know I told you to throw a bunch of fastballs. Let's go back to your basic game plan now. For me, it's kind of in the category of 6 runs too late.
Ball 1-2 Dominguez. 73 pitches. Now there is bullpen action for the Tribe. And the count runs to 2-0 here. Brian Shaw is working for Cleveland. Becoming very unlikely that Kazmir will stay in 5 innings and qualify for a win as Shaw works. Foul away, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count for Dominguez. Coming into this game, Matt had made only 1 error in 46 major league games, covering 2 years. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He made a miscue in the 2nd inning, and that led to 4 unearned runs. Kazmir was traded by the Mets to Tampa Bay in 2004 for Victor Zambrano. And a strikeout ends it here. That's the 4th of the game for Kazmir. And the Astros put up 3 for the 2nd straight inning. Laird, with their 2nd long ball of the night, helps them to a 15-6 score through 3.
Now it's NBA playoff time as James Harden leads the Rockets into Oklahoma City to take on his former team. Can Houston knock off the West #1 seed? Rockets and Thunder. A special hour-long pregame show begins Sunday night. That's at 7:30 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet.
Travis Blackley about to make his Astros debut. Just rejoined the ball club tonight after being obtained in a deal, and then he was hurt. Last year he was 6-4 for Oakland with a 4.10 ERA. And he works to Mike Aviles. Blackley pitched a little bit for the Giants as well as Oakland last year. Was a starter and reliever. His first pitch as an Astro, strike one to Aviles, who had the RBI single in the third inning. Blackley's 30 years old. He's from Melbourne, Australia. He says, "Good day, mate." With that pitch, it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Which for the A's and the Giants, I guess you could say he was held at bay.
He was Bay Area all year. For 2 playoff teams. He probably cashed some pretty nice checks postseason. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's right. 2 clubs getting in.
Well, he began his career in the Seattle organization. Then he was traded to the Giants in 07. He's had some surgery, and he's been bouncing around from minor leagues. He went to Korea in 2011, back to the majors last year. And the Astros traded outfielder Jake Gobert for him on April 13th. And then he had been designated for assignment about a week before that, so had some rust on him and really didn't have anyone to play catch with. He wasn't a member of the A's, so he couldn't go in there and work out. So he actually attended a game and sat in the right field bleachers. Watched an Oakland game. And joined those voracious fans that we saw out there who are just wild and crazy. And they get into it for his fellow Aussie, Grant Balfour. So he was a part of that action for 1 game as a fan. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And then when he reported to the Astros, he was throwing a bullpen here and he got hurt. So they had to send him on a rehab assignment. And he started 2 nights ago for the Oklahoma Redhawks. Went a couple of innings. And the next day underwent an exam by the training staff and was deemed ready to go. So he's been reinstated from the 15-day DL. He went 2 innings, gave up 1 earned run for Oklahoma City. And the injury was a left shoulder strain. Now Nate Lucero comes out. It's the home plate umpire, Mike DeMuro, and his right wrist area, it appears. Nate taking a look.
Don't often find a couple of men on the street taking care of each other like that, but it's the reason Corporon goes out to the mound, just to buy a little time for his home plate umpire. For a second I was wondering if maybe Corporon was delivering any kind of a message, but that hurts. That hurts. What I saw Blackley doing prior to this pitch and others was going to the back of his neck with his pitching hand and then not wiping it off. And we've actually seen that scenario where you go to the mouth or to the head area. You've got to be able to wipe off now. That was a blow taken right there.
You might not have seen this the other night. Russell Martin was catching for the Pirates and the pitcher crossed him up. He took a pitch right on the mask. Didn't get a glove on it. Stayed in the game. And appeared to get the bare hand of Mike DeMuro, the right hand. And it's 2-2 to Aviles. Foul back.
Good common courtesy for a catcher and pitcher to take some extra time when an umpire's hurting.
Aviles, 32 years old. Kansas City drafted him in 03. Cleveland got him in a trade last November for pitcher Esmil Rogers. He looks at that one for ball 3.
Close, but off that outside edge.
Blackley was signed out of Australia by Jim Colburn, former Major League pitcher and pitching coach. He's done a lot of Far East scouting. Now there's a walk to Aviles. Dallas Keuchel in 2 2/3 innings allowed 7 hits, 7 runs, 3 earned, walking 2, fanning 3, and hitting a batter. That's the 4th walk of the night for Astros pitching. Nick Swisher is 3 for 3, 2 runs batted in, and 2 runs scored for Nick. Batting average .315, and his club now has 15 runs on 15 hits. Strike to the former Ohio State Buckeye.
Bit of a high strike, and I'm not sure Swisher agrees on the call.
Swisher has a career .361 on base average, and Swisher has 669 walks coming into this season. He knows the strike zone pretty well. In tight to him, it's 1-1.
It was a bit theatrical.
Yeah, it was. Coming into this game, Swisher had 10 walks and 11 strikeouts for the season. It's a good balance. We saw former Astro Mike Jackson on the field for batting practice tonight.
Swisher's had a couple of pitches called that I don't think he agrees on, and especially this one. This breaking ball wasn't even caught in a way that would lead to one thinking it was a strike.
Mike DeMuro rang it up, much to Nick's chagrin. His looks could kill.
Oh, that's pretty good. Maybe 15-6, but I'm still trying.
Yeah. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count for Travis Blackley. Now Brad Mills has 9 bulls. He and his son are raising bulls. His son Bo was a first-round draft choice for the Indians, now retired from baseball, in California raising those bulls, but 3 of them are here in the Beaumont area. And one of them was named for Altuve and brought over today to the ballpark there. It's a smash toward the left field line by Dominguez. Swisher heads for second with his 4th hit of the night. And it's his 3rd double of this game, getting Aviles to third base.
Yeah, Nick Swisher, it doesn't matter about calls on him at all. He is having a night. Switch hitter. Just hanging out the line shot.
He put a tail on that one. Some serious topspin. Swisher with 4 hits now. He gets a hit an inning on the average in this game. He's on a pace to get 9 hits in this game.
I haven't seen that happen very often.
Jason Giambi drove in 2 with a double in the 1st inning. He also has walked. He's 1 for 2. Major league record is 7 hits in a game. Swisher has a shot at that. Strike to Giambi. Nobody out. Runners at second and third now. Astros staff ERA was 4.80, 13th in the American League before this game. High to right center field. That's got Barnes going way back toward the bullpen. That one is a 3-run shot by Giambi, number 2. And it's 18-6 as Giambi has 5 runs batted in this game.
Well, the Astros have tried to battle back into this thing, but the Indians are just not going to halt this offense. Again, an offense that was 25th in the major leagues in runs scored prior to this evening, but they are going to change that quickly.
That's their 3rd long ball of the night. That was a no-doubter. 391-footer. 18 runs on 17 hits for the Tribe. Carlos Santana has one of those long balls. There's ball one to him. Santana has scored 3 runs. Don't know what the record is for runs scored in a single major league game. Do you?
No, I don't. Kind of scared to look.
Well, the folks are going to be paging through those record books on the Cleveland side. If this game keeps going the way it is, 18 runs on 17 hits and 1 error for them.
Jason Giambi started the night with 1 RBI on his season and now has 6.
Dominguez gets the out on Santana. 1 out of the inning. Mark Reynolds hit a 3-run homer in the first inning, and the Tribe scored 8. Then he picked up another RBI in the second, so he's 2 for 3. Reynolds, a player who can really help this Indians club, playing first base tonight as he did for Baltimore in a productive season last year. And so with his slugging and Michael Bourne's ability to set the table, score runs, the Indians have acquired 2 very good offensive performers, and then Swisher. And, you know, Giambi showing signs here tonight that he can chime in and be helpful.
They say he is just a great presence on that Indians club.
Likely missed there, and it's a 2-ball, no strike count on Mark Reynolds. Reynolds, 29 years old. He hit 23 homers for Baltimore last year. Drove in 69 runs and 457 at bats. It's 3-0 to Reynolds. Reynolds had his best year with Arizona in 09. He hit 44 homers, drove in 102 runs. But people focus on his strikeouts.
Blackley continues to go to the back of the neck, trying to get a little moisture to put on the baseball. Supposed to wipe that off.
That's a strike. 3-1. Reynolds hit a tie-breaking homer in the 11th this year to give Cleveland a win at Toronto. The Indians, the last 3 games, have totaled 8 runs, 21 hits. They have 18 runs and 18 hits tonight so far. And less than 4 innings of work, and there's a walk to Reynolds. Second walk for Blackley, 5th walk for Astros pitching. Cole Porter looking around on the bench. And here comes Doug Brocail again with Chisenhall due up. Beautiful night. Last night was pretty doggone chilly for Houston this time of year.
Yeah, I guess that assessment of beauty depends on who you happen to be this evening. Some Astros pitchers probably not enjoying it quite as much as a lot of us.
That's speaking weather only, Ash.
Well, that is true.
7 out of 10 have at least 2 hits in this game. Because Cabrera left with an injury, so they've used 10 players in their lineup. Chisenhall takes, and that's ball 1 to him. There's a double, and he's been hit by a pitch. Jason Giambi came into this game with 430 homers, 43rd on the all-time list, and he has tied Cal Ripken Jr. now for 42nd place with 431 career long balls. Strike makes it 1-2 to Chisenhall.
So interesting with a guy like Jason Giambi. He wanted to be the manager. I believe it was the Rockies.
Yes.
That he interviewed for and didn't pan out. So he said, well, I'll just keep playing.
That would have been a good job. They're off to a nice start. Walt Weiss took that job. 1-2.
They're doing a heck of a job. I didn't have any anticipation that they were good enough to do what they've done so far.
Right. They have been surprising. Reiner Cruz warming up for Houston. Rockies are atop the NL West at 12-4 coming into play today with a 2.5 game edge on the Giants. Giants were swept by Milwaukee in the previous series. Still 1-2 count for Blackley with Reiner Cruz getting loose. In a situation like this, the Astros now with 3 starters in the last 4 games, failing to get out of the first inning. Some of those starters may have to come back. And between starts and pitch and long relief, unless they can really turn things around. Still a 1-ball 2-strike count. Eric Bedard is one of those starters, and he'll get a chance to atone tomorrow against Ubaldo Jimenez. Grounded foul. Last night the Astros snapped a 5-game losing streak with their 3-2 win. That's what the Indians are trying to do tonight. Indians have 5 players on the disabled list right now. Back, and it's still a 1-2 count with Stubbs on deck. Dodgers and Orioles are tied 1-1. They're in the bottom of the 5th in Baltimore. Chris Davis at his 7th home run. Josh Beckett's on the mound for Los Angeles. The Pirates are trying to beat the Braves for the 2nd straight game. They lead at 3-1 in Pittsburgh, bottom of the 7th inning. Gabby Sanchez hit his first. That's high to center field. Maxwell moving over. Retires Chisenhall. Kevin Eschenfelder brings his unique blend of interviews, debate, and analysis of Houston sports and beyond on Sports Talk Live. Weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sports Net. Two outs now, and here in the Cleveland 4th inning with 3 runs home, Drew Stubbs is the batter. Stubbs has a pair of hits, 2 runs scored, and an RBI in this game. Paul Maholm started tonight for the Braves. The former Pirate out of the game now after allowing 3 runs in 6 innings. It's James McDonald, the Pittsburgh starter, checking in with good numbers. 6 innings of 2-hit 1-run baseball, 9 strikeouts. Now he's left the game. Well, Chris Johnson's off to quite a start. Foul ball there for Barnes. CJ playing first tonight for the Braves, and he's been there the last couple days. Freddie Freeman is hurt right now. Chris is 2 for 3 so far tonight for the Braves, and his batting average is .426. Nice little souvenir for that fella.
Talking about the baseball or the .426 batting average.
One hopper, Cedeno firing wild, and it goes toward the right field line as the runners advance another base. Barnes tracks it down. Cedeno with an off-balance throw from left field, threw it by Altuve, trying to get the play on Reynolds at second, but it's an error on Cedeno, allowing the runners to move up.
You would think on a night like this, and who's to say how this turns out, but when things don't go well, I think the best thing a manager can do is just tell the guys to forget about it. Come on back tomorrow and let's play the kind of baseball we know we can play.
Yep.
And it happens to all clubs. Maybe not to this extreme all the time.
That was a hit for Stubbs and an error on Cedeno. Cedeno's 3rd error of the year. Yeah, it really does happen to all teams at some point. A rout, that is, maybe not of certain proportions. Brantley has a couple of hits, bases loaded walk tonight. In baseball, it's all about bouncing back from those. So, yeah, if you were to try to micromanage this game, you'd be better off not to try.
Well, the Astros started the night with just 7 errors as a club. Had 3 on the evening.
1 ball, 1 strike. I think it's easier to laugh off a baseball game with a 162 game season in April, no matter what the score of the route. Another game coming tomorrow. Let's refocus on that one, the thought would normally be, rather than try to dwell on what happened in this game. And in many ways, you know, there are so many games and a lot of them decided by 1 or 2 runs. A blowout does not really hurt a team all that much.
Statistically, it punishes some pitchers on the night. There's no question. But as a team, you're right.
Cedeno to his right. Makes the throw. And 3 more runs cross in the 4th inning. So by innings, the scoring has gone 8-6, 1-3 for the Tribe. Swisher and friends having a blast, 18-6.
Cleveland out in front here in the bottom of the 4th. It is time to announce our progressive fan of the game, and I have Adrian standing next to me. He's 5 years old. He is a huge Houston Astros fan. Who is your favorite player, Adrian?
Altuve.
Altuve. Turn around, show him the shirt. He's even wearing the shirt. This is why he is our progressive fan of the game. Here you go, sweetie. Hold that. Now, lots of fans here in the crowd for Altuve, but Altuve's biggest fans are probably the guys playing around him. Ronnie Cedeno is one of them. I talked to him earlier about Altuve and what he's been able to do this season. He loves the way Altuve approaches the plate and has passion for this game. He says he plays like a guy who's been in the majors for years, guys.
He really does. There's strike 1 to Brandon Barnes, leading it off in an 18-6 game. The Astros batting in the 4th inning. Barnes hit a 2-run homer in the 2nd. And the Astros have back-to-back 3-run innings off Scott Kazmir. That one's into the seats for an 0-2 count. Kazmir is at 78 pitches for the night.
Jose Altuve also plays this game like a guy who is destined to be known as one heck of a player.
He has set a very strong pace early in his career. Popped up on the right side. Kipnis underneath. 1 out. And it'll be Altuve coming up. Well, he was photographed next to that prize bull owned by Brad and Bo Mills before the game. They were taking him out on a golf cart, Ash. And I was driving in, and here was this golf cart with Altuve and Mills riding in it. And so that piqued my interest.
Yeah, I would think that would.
Altuve singled a right in the 2nd inning after reaching on an error. And I thought, well, okay, those guys are good friends, you know. Altuve broke in for Mills. But where are they going leaving the ballpark? Well, It turned out they were going outside so that Altuve could meet the bull that was named Altuve. And Brad Mills explained, well, we have 9 bulls, but 6 are in California and 3 are in the Beaumont area, and that's because we take them and we show them, and all the shows are in the South. So Bo is working with bulls in California when they're ready to show, and we send them down to Beaumont.
No matter what that story might go to, Altuve is a nice name for a bull, I have to say. I hope he can hit.
So, you know, you can just see it coming. All right, now they're going to weigh the bull. How many Altuves? And Brad Mills said, well, the bull is small, but very good.
Ooh.
All back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Altuve picked up his 25th hit of the season in the 2nd inning tonight. Of course, these 2 guys really had some great times together in an Astros uniform. That's a flare to right field. This could drop for another hit. Kipnis can't make the catch, and Altuve's done that twice tonight. 2 flares to right field.
The bull can hit.
The baby bull. We've had one of those.
Orlando Cepeda was the baby bull.
Yes, he was.
I don't know. I don't like the way this guy goes at the game. And, you know, there are some guys that other players might say, well, he gets a lot of lucky hits. But for me, when you watch those guys long enough, it's because they're good hitters.
Right. They make contact. 2 hits for Altuve. 6 for the Astros. Maxwell looks at ball 1. He is 0 for 2. And Terry Francona is giving Kazmir a shot at a win here. He's thrown 87 pitches. Seems highly unlikely that he'll be around to go 5 innings to qualify for it. It's a 2-ball, no strike count. And it's Reiner Cruz in the Astros pen. Brett Myers, with those 2 home runs he gave up last night, has allowed 10 homers in his first 4 games with the Indians, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. That's the highest total by any pitcher in Major League history. His first 4 with the team. There's a liner to left field, to the corner, off the wall. Altuve being held by Tremblay at third on a double by Maxwell, his 4th 2-base hit. And at second and third, 1 out for Laird, who homered last time.
Well, if you're going to get back in this game, at some point the pitchers have to come through, but keep the bats going. That's good work down around the knees, and just good aggressive hacking by Justin Maxwell.
Now there's a meeting at the mound. Terry Francona has come out. Kazmir will be leaving this game. And we'll go to the bullpen and be back in just a minute. The Chipotle Chicken Combo. It's back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today with fries and a drink for just $4.99 plus tax. Right-hander Brian Shaw comes out of the bullpen for the Tribe. He has no wins or losses, an ERA of 1.13 for 6 games.
Yeah, that's a tidy ERA, the 1.13. He's finished up a couple of games for the Tribe. Striking out 11 in his 8 innings of work.
No walks.
Pretty good stuff.
179 batting average against Shaw, 25 years old, from Camp Pendleton, California. He went to Cal State Long Beach. Pitched for Arizona last year. He was traded in the 3-team deal over the winter to the Tribe. Laird with a homer and a strikeout. Looks at his first pitch, and it's ball 1 upstairs.
Back in the 3rd inning, Brandon Laird took one deep, his 2nd in the major leagues in his brief career, and really a no-doubt shot, and he got mobbed in the dugout eventually.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike from Shaw, who with Arizona last year pitched 64 times. He had 10 holds and 2 saves. Corey Kluber's warming up now in the Indians bullpen. Shaw was drafted by Arizona in the 2nd round in 08. Chris Carter on deck. Foul back by Laird, 1-2. Among the things that impressed the Astros press about Brandon Laird in spring training was how he hit well against some of the best pitchers the Astros were facing this spring. So Jeff Luhnow and Bo Porter were talking about the fact that it would be nice to have him, if he wasn't starting a game, maybe coming off the bench to pinch hit late against some of the top pitchers around. As you see, the spring numbers were fine, so were the AAA numbers. That's a strikeout, and it's number 5 of the night for the Tribe staff. Kazmir walked 3 and fanned 4 in his 3 1/3.
Just a good fastball, high heat thrown on by.
Chris Carter grounded out, and he walked and scored. And so Shaw came in that 3-team deal involving Cincinnati, along with Bauer and Matt Albers. That's ball 1. Trevor Bauer is probably on the verge, if they need somebody, of rejoining the Indians. He made 1 start for them. They walked 7 in that game. 2-0. Last night for AAA Columbus, Bauer made his 2nd straight solid start for the AAA affiliate of the Tribe. Went 7 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. They've done well in both starts. 3-0. And Bauer is a guy with unusual pregame routines. He plays catch from foul pole to foul pole.
That's unusual because not many guys can do it.
Throw the ball in. 3-1.
This is see Bert Blyleven the day after he would pitch and go the distance likely. Out in the outfield, long tossing like that. Just had one of those arms.
Really, the day after.
Right?
Fly ball to right center. Stubbs is calling. In the 4th inning, no runs, 2 hits, 2 left for the Astros. It's 18-6 Cleveland. I remind you to tune in to Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score but the experience. Kids here tonight have watched tons of offense, and now pitcher number 4 comes into the game for Houston, right-hander Reiner Cruz. And obviously my speculation about not using him was totally off base, because here he is. But it might just be that they feel that this is an opportunity for him to pitch Ash in a low pressure situation, maybe work on some things for his next tight ball game. Usually he would be a 7th or 8th inning guy with a lead.
Yeah, I tended to agree with what you said early on. Outing number 10 on the season for Reiner Cruz. ERA at 5.19, so he'd like to do some shaving right there, and the Astros could certainly use some quality pitching at this point of things. 11 hits allowed in 8 2/3 innings.
And if he can be efficient here, that could put everything on a better track for the next ball game. Not only for him, but for the team. Jason Kipnis leads it off. He looks at strike 1.
Well, we've talked numerous times about Reiner Cruz having the type of fastball that could be projected as a closer. Very good arm.
And there's the changeup at 84. That's a relatively new wrinkle we've seen the last few outings from Reiner.
Like it. I would love to see him master that a bit, and part of that mastering is a little more arm speed. It looks to me like he takes a little off with the arm speed.
Out into center field, Maxwell comes in for the catch. Well, it's really an art to throwing that change, isn't it?
It is. The biggest key that I always felt anyway was get a grip, trust it, and throw it as hard as you can. Allow the grip to take the speed off and not arm speed.
Sounds good.
Easier said than done, because you grip a ball kind of deep in your hand or split finger or whatever the case may be, and then throw it really hard, and sometimes you're asking for a disaster until you figure out the feel of that pitch.
Strike to Aviles.
But you cannot slow down your arm and have an effective changeup.
Yeah, that grip is important too. Some pitchers have to fool around with different types of grips.
That's a quality slider. Smallish, right at the outside edge.
Well, and with the changeup, now he has 3 pitches.
Yeah.
And that's an improvement in the stuff of Reiner Cruz this year. He had the rocket power fastball last year. That's punched into right field. Aviles took it the other way for a hit. That's his second of the game. He's come off the bench and reached in all 3 plate appearances. Hit number 19 for the Tribe. Nick Swisher has 4 of those. He scored 3 runs, driven in a couple. Big night for Swisher. This could be one of those nights that a guy remembers his whole career. Rennie Stennett got 7 hits in a game one time. Played second base in the National League.
Former Pirate, I want to say.
Yes. Swisher with a big cut. Ball's behind 0-2.
He was looking to hit one out of here.
Sure was. His high in a major league game is 4 hits, so he's tied that. It's the 3rd time he's done it. Last time he did it was July 8th, 2010 at Seattle. And he's already tied his high in runs scored for a game with 3. And it's the 5th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That is not a bad night.
The baseball field at Ohio State was dedicated in his honor in November 2011. Foul back.
4 hits on the night through 4 innings. Gets it started by gapping one to left center field. Turns around, hits right-handed. Drops one in front of Maxwell. Hits one sharply down the line, left field line. Extra bases. And then cranks one on a line shot down that left field line.
There's a switch hitter going to work from both sides of the plate in one game. Down on a knee as he strikes out. 2 outs.
We can still smile, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
One thing about Nick Swisher, does put on a show, but you know, I think he enjoys playing this game. He obviously shows a lot of fun.
Now Giambi. Jason looks at ball 1. He drove in 2 with a double in the first inning and 3 with a homer in the 4th.
If I could say to kids how to play this game, play it with a big smile on your face and having a lot of fun. Doesn't need to be pressure packed.
No.
When you're a kid.
Well, you do see those tense faces though sometimes.
Well, you want to do well. Everybody does.
Start to lay down, son. Start to lay down right here.
It's 2-1 to Giambi. Cardinals are leading at Philadelphia 5-0 after 6. Lance Lynn on the mound against Cliff Lee. Foul back, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Carlos Beltran hit his 4th home run of the season. Cardinals are 9-7. Off to a decent start. They've had to make some changes with the injuries they've had on their club. The closer Jason Mott went down. Shortstop Rafael Furcal. Giambi takes a look at ball 3. It's 3-2. Brewers lead the Cubs 5-1. They're in the bottom of the 7th at Miller Park. Jonathan Lucroy hit his 3rd homer. Gene Segura just came up with a double. He's a good young shortstop. 3-2 with 2 outs. The runner goes, and there's a walk. Giambi takes his 2nd of the night. Number 6 for Astros pitching.
Hasn't been a pitcher able to come in yet for the Astros and just kind of shut this thing down.
Yeah.
Quell the riot a bit.
One of those nights when misery will love company in that ERA department for everybody who's hit the mound so far for the Astros. Carlos Santana homered in the 3rd inning. He also has walked and scored 3 runs. He reached on an error in one of those at bats. Travis Blackley in 1 inning allowed 3 hits, 3 runs. He walked 2 and did not have a strikeout. Santana with ball 1. Scott Kazmir in 3 1/3 innings surrendered 7 hits and 6 earned runs, walking 3 and fanning 4. He threw 89 pitches, 49 for strikes. So now the official scorer, if the Indians win this game, will have to determine who the winning pitcher is. A shot to the right field corner. That'll score at least 1 to make it 19-6. Santana into 2nd with an RBI double. Double number 6 of the season for him. Avila scoring. And that's his 8th run batted in of the year.
That swing was simply a guy who's feeling pretty good about himself, and Carlos Santana should be. Just cranking it up as much as he can and letting it fly, centering the baseball. That is very aggressive hitting and well done.
Mark Reynolds hit a 3-run homer and an RBI single his 2nd time up. Walks 2 for 3 with a walk. Moves back from ball 1. 19 runs on 20 hits for the Tribe. 6 runs on 7 hits for the Astros. They've also committed 3 errors in the game. Reynolds was born in Kentucky but went to the University of Virginia. He pops it up. And we're back into the crowd. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Reynolds was a 16th round pick of Arizona in 2004. He was traded to Baltimore in December of 2010. Reynolds looks at it. It's a 1-2 count. Maybe more suitable to an American League club. He has had some fielding problems at third base, but the reports were that he played well at first base for Baltimore.
He did. Picked a lot of throws out of the dirt.
Rolls over on this one. Grounder to Matt Dominguez. Over to Laird. And it's one more run scoring for the Tribe here in the 5th inning. They continue to score in every frame so far. Swisher punching away 19-6.
Just in the heart of this ball game. Sunday, April 21st, the Astros face the Cleveland Indians. That's tomorrow, of course. 1:10 p.m. is the start time. The first 10,000 fans will receive an Astros green grocery tote, courtesy of the Methodist Transplant Center. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets today.
19-6 game. As Alan mentioned, we're just checking the Astros record book for the most runs allowed in one game. It was 22 runs allowed, June 3rd, 1987, at Chicago. And that was a game, I believe, started by Bob Knepper. 22-7 was the final score there. Carlos Pena grounds one. There's the shift, and the shortstop is there. Vilas taking it over. First one-pitch one out for Shaw in this 19-6 game. Yeah, I think the wind was howling out that day. Just thinking of a game in Cincinnati, that was an 18-run game. Jim Clancy started that one, 89, I think it was. And
I think it was 89.
Tom Browning was on the winning end of that one.
He managed to hang on and hold that one, huh?
After the first inning, well, the Reds got 14 in the first inning. And then they just cruised after that, and it was actually a pretty quick game after that. Corporan takes ball one. And the odd thing about that game was that it wasn't a bunch of 3-run homers. It was just single. They were bouncing balls off the artificial turf, bouncing through the infield for hits, looping fly balls. They weren't really crushing the ball off Clancy, but it sure added up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Like I said at the start of this ball game, one of those nights where everything finds a gap, everything finds a hole, and probably the same scenario there. Although we've seen some balls hit pretty well.
Yeah, we sure have. 2 balls and a strike.
Now catchers now have a catcher's ERA, and I'm sure Carlos Corcoran is not going to be overly pleased with his and the results tonight.
That's not fair. 3 balls and a strike. He would like to strike that from the record, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear that argument because I might back him up.
Diving, Kipnis unable to keep it on the infield, and that's a clean single for Carlos Corcoran. Well, you might have used the old line. A slugfest. Single by Kipnis into right.
Which line was that?
Well, your pitchers are getting clobbered in a game like this. The manager comes out and you're at the mound. And he says, how's this guy's stuff tonight? You say, I don't know. I haven't caught anything yet.
Yeah, that's one of the lines that can certainly be used. Of course, your pitcher may not take kindly to that one.
Ronnie Cedeno with strike 1. Cedeno's driven in 3 tonight. 6 runs on 8 hits for the Astros.
Can be a tough game. Guys can be cruel with each other in a fun way. It's always intended to be fun. So when you get a night like tonight for the pitchers, it's not fun, and you really lay off.
No, it certainly is not. But I was just thinking, you know, sometimes teams will go through a game like this and they'll just get clobbered. And somehow it will kind of help the team chemistry, you know?
Yeah.
The guys will be able to bond together because everybody probably did something that was pretty far under par in that game. And then they can laugh it off because, hey, the ones that really wear on you are the 1-run losses.
Those are the most difficult, and they certainly should be. If you feel like 9 guys, 10 guys, 15 guys, whatever, maybe had a chance in the ball game to make a difference.
Strike 3 call.
But in a game like this, you know, you really don't go back to the clubhouse and hang your head. You try to just take it loose, get your shower, and do it well, and head home and come on back to the ballpark tomorrow, and let's try this thing and do it right tomorrow.
And on the other hand, with the Tribe here, improving their rankings in all these areas in a major way with this one game tonight, 20 hits and 19 runs. It's only one game, though.
Statistically, a night like tonight for the Tribe can turn them into a pretty good offensive club.
Yeah.
And so you take everything that's come to this point and you just kind of blend it together, and now you're pretty good.
2 balls, no strikes.
Of course, the Astros had that big night in Seattle. 5 home runs in the ball game. Chris Carter had a pair.
But now let's just say the Astros bounce back and win by 1 tomorrow.
They will. Nature of the game.
That's baseball, as they say. But if they were to do that, after getting shellacked tonight, if that is to be their fate, in fact, tonight, they feel really good by Sunday night. Well, they won 2 out of 3.
Take 2 out of 3. Was it the 1960 World Series? The Yankees and Pirates, and the Pirates took 4 of the 7, and the Yankees just clobbered the Pirates statistically in that series.
They did. They crushed them. Total runs scored. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This is not the World Baseball Classic with the tiebreaker being the run differential.
Thank goodness.
Shallow right field. Kipnis out. Kipnis with the grab. Nice over-the-shoulder catch. And it's no runs a hit and the man left after 5. 19-6. Cleveland. ...20 hits through 5 innings. They've scored in every inning after getting 8 in the first and 6 in the second. They have kept pouring it on.
You know what the big surprise for me is that they have just 2 home runs in this 19-run outburst. Is it 3 in the... Yes, it is 3. 1 for Reynolds. We just saw that one. Carlos Santana and Jason Giambi with the others. But in 19 runs worth, you might expect more. Jason Giambi got plenty of that one. And forearm shivers at the plate.
Now as the Tribe comes up with that scoring in every inning, quite a trend for them through the first 5. They go to Chisenhall to lead it off in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. Doubled in that 8-run, 8-hit first inning. Now Scott Kazmir comes out of the game with an ERA of 16.20 and yet will not be the losing pitcher. And there's strike 1 to Chisenhall, who in addition to his double also has been hit by a pitch.
This is a tough ball game to manage for Bo Porter, I would think, as you try to get the pitching done for the night without destroying your bullpen as you head toward tomorrow.
A little looping line drive hit. And Chisenhall gets his 2nd of the night. 21 hits for Cleveland. Now Bo has a pitcher warming up the bullpen right now. Paul Clemens. And the hope would be that he could just come in whenever he's called upon and finish out this game. But 19 runs have scored already on 21 hits, and the Indians show no signs of letting up. There's ball 1.
I was just thinking, if Bo Porter got to that point where he said, look, uncle, and we need to go to maybe the bench and have one of the position players pitch, who he might pick. And I don't know that I can even take a reasonable guess there.
I don't think he wants Rick Ankiel pitching.
No, and that's the thing. Rick is one of the 3 that remains on the bench right now. J.D. Martinez is back to the minor leagues. Jason Castro, it's not going to be him. So I don't see that happening. Or I shouldn't say back to the minors for J.D., but on the DL.
Right. Strike 2-1. J.D. Martinez, by the way, had started 12 games in a row prior to that injury that forced him out of the lineup tonight and on the DL.
Looked like an odd injury, but one that he's had a couple of times.
Foul back. That makes it a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Yeah, I think Rick Ankiel's had his day on the mound. And he had great stuff at one time.
He really did.
Well, you watch him, and we got that opportunity numerous times during the spring to watch him throw from right field. Wow.
That's a show. 3-2 now to Stubbs.
Now, I've had the opportunity to watch Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds take batting practice when it was quite a show. There are things that'll grab you as a player or former player on the field. Watching Rick Ankiel throw from right field in the spring grabbed me and made me just stand and watch.
I know, going down on the swing is Stubbs. He's crawling around just in all kinds of pain. Ty Van Berkelio, who was the Astros hitting coach for a portion of the season last year, is now the Indians hitting coach. Looks like the outside of the right knee is the problem.
That's hard to do for a right-hand hitter.
It is very hard to do.
Seen it done before, but it's so rare. Need to watch this again to see, does he hit it that far behind and directly toward the knee? Well, it certainly was deep, and he had cleared the hips, and that left the knee exposed.
Might have gotten him on the side of that shin bone. Native Texan reaching down to that right side of the knee area as he tries to walk it off. Yeah, Terry Francona is very short on bench players. He only has 2 remaining. He's used 1.
It's 19-6. He's leading, and he's probably thinking, come on, guys, let's get through this thing healthy.
In tight to him, and that's a walk. Runners at first and second now with nobody out for Brantley. Ryder Cruz is at the 32 pitch mark. Brantley has a 2-run double, a bases loaded walk, and a single tonight. Well, the combined record of the Astros minor league clubs is 34-22, 607 winning percentage. That's tops among all teams right now. Baltimore second at 600. And the Astros reaching down to get Fernando Martinez onto the club tonight from his minor league injury rehab assignment. Strike one. Fernando had not really hit for the Red Hawks, but they need him because of the injury to J.D. Martinez. And so he was on his way here tonight as a batting practice. Presumably, yes, Julia did say he had arrived. Bounce at a shortstop, 2 hoppers, Cedeno shoveling. And then here's the turn by Marwin Gonzalez. Well, Marwin has moved in at second base for Jose Altuve. And he's played so well at shortstop this year. Now we get to see him at second.
Another one of those nice underhanded tosses we've seen on both sides of the bag at second. Not this evening, but through recent games where ground balls have been hit near the bag, and that sets up that nice, easy toss.
22 double plays for the Astros this season.
Sounds like a leader to me.
Yeah. This ball 1 to Kipnis. Kipnis has 1 hit tonight.
I think that is a figure that leads the American League.
There you have it.
Leads the major leagues. American League, okay.
This is game number 17.
Still a bit challenging to see Houston Astros and think American League.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still trying to get used to that. There is Fernando Martinez. Fernando went 1 for 4 with a double and an RBI last night for Oklahoma City. And he was 2 for 18 there in 5 games. He had been out with strained left oblique. 3-0 on Kipnis. Eric Bedard and Ubaldo Jimenez tomorrow. 1:10 start, 12:30 for the pregame show. Astros pregame live, and then Monday night the Seattle Mariners come in. It'll be Brad Peacock and Felix Hernandez. Tuesday night Bud Norris and Hisashi Iwakuma. Wednesday afternoon Lucas Harrell and Joe Saunders. And when the Astros won 2 of 3 in Seattle, they did not face the top 2 starters, Hernandez and Iwakuma. Kipnis draws a walk. That's 3 of those tonight for Cruz. And that's going to be it. He's thrown 39 pitches. Blackley threw 39. Keuchel threw 74 in relief of the starter Umber. And now on to Paul Clemens. 19-6 Cleveland. Back in a moment.
It's been a while since the Cleveland Indians have been able to hang up banner. 2007 was the last time the Indians won. They won the AL Central title that year, and after a rough start in 2008, the Indians decided to just throw the towel on the season. Let's take a look back at some of the big names they started to trade away. Starting with CC Sabathia, that's a pretty big one. He went to the Brewers. Cleveland got 4 players there. Michael Brantley, who's out and left tonight, is the only one remaining. He was actually the player to be named later in that trade. An attempt to revamp the club. The changes kept coming, trading away Cliff Lee and Victor Martinez that year. And then Jake Westbrook was the next to go in 2010. He went to St. Louis. The Tribe received Corey Kluber from the Padres in a 3-team deal there, and he is still around. But Cleveland got a number of players during that time, but it wasn't enough to turn things around. And here again, you see lots of new faces, so they're rebuilding again, guys.
Still trying to get used to everybody. And now Paul Clemens is in the game. He's pitcher number 5, facing Mike Aviles. And the fastball works for strike 1. Paul went long distance in relief his last time out 5 days ago at Oakland. He's 1-0 with a 4.82 ERA. In 9 1/3 innings, he's allowed 7 hits, walking 3, fanning 3. In that game at Oakland, which was an 11-2 Houston loss, he went 5 1/3, giving up 1 hit and no runs.
And dislocated a pinky finger on his right hand and played right through it.
Ground ball, Cedeno tossing to Marwin Gonzalez for the force play. No runs, a hit, 2 men left, middle of the 6th inning. And there's a 0 for the Astros, 19-6.
perfect way to combine business and baseball, or a unique space to hold your next event. With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice, for that matter.
We have all kinds of changes now for the Tribe. Jan Gomes is the new catcher, taking over there for Carlos Santana, but Santana has moved to first base now. And we have outfield changes as well, with Drew Stubbs taking that foul ball off his leg. He is leaving the game now. And Brantley has moved from left field to center, while Ryan Rayburn is the new left fielder. Here's the new pitcher number 3 of the night, Corey Kluber. He just turned 27. He's from Birmingham, Alabama, and went to high school at Coppell, Texas. And there you see his numbers for one game. And now Will Porter's coming out. He wants to check the lineup card to see where the substitutes are batting on the umpire's lineup card as Kluber gets ready to work. Kluber made 12 starts for the Indians last season with a 2-5 record and a 5.14 ERA. They obtained him in a 3-team deal July 31st of 2010. He went to Stetson University, and he'll be facing Brandon Barnes, who hit a 2-run homer in the second and hit a pop to second base his second time up. There's strike one. So the Astros have finally posted a 0 in the top of the 6th inning for the Cleveland Indians, who had scored in each of the first 5 frames. 19 runs on 21 hits for them. The Astros have 6 runs on 8 hits. The Indians have left 11 base runners. No balls, 2 strikes. It began with an 8-run first. 8 straight Indians, 9 straight Indians reaching base after the first man, Brantley, hit a fly ball, rolled out to second. Kipnis on to first to Santana, 1 out. So now all the bench players have been used tonight by Terry Francona. And Marwin Gonzalez bats for the first time. Jose Altuve was the starter at second and the leadoff man, going 2 for 3 on his bobblehead night. And Marwin went in for him. Marwin's been playing a lot of shortstop lately. Had a good road trip with a .350 batting average, a couple of homers. And as the Astros returned home last night, he was the shortstop. He went 0 for 2 with a sac bunt.
Been playing good baseball.
He has. Puts himself in a nice fundamental fielding positions. He smacks one into right field. Marwin Gonzalez on with a single. You know, he showed that ability last year to play the various infield positions. Very talented guy defensively.
Ball was running down and away from him. Still got the barrel to it and able to pull it through the right side there. It's a pitch that oftentimes will get you in trouble if you try to pull it.
Marwin's aboard. And Justin Maxwell, who doubled to left in the 4th inning, is up for the 4th time. He's 1 for 3. That was hit number 9 for the Astros. Jonathan Villar is the everyday shortstop at Oklahoma City right now. And he is a toolsy player. There's strike one, meaning he's got all the ability to be a good major league shortstop. He got off to a terrible start offensively, but he was 2 for 4 last night, 2 extra base hits. Strong arm. You saw some of him in spring training, Ash.
The arm really stands out, and defensively he'll get your attention immediately. It's a good, difficult situation for the Astros. You've got Marwin Gonzalez playing very well, and I think Villar is probably capable of playing here.
Kipnis comes in from second. 2 outs. And so Villar has a chance to develop at AAA. Try to smooth out some wrinkles, become more consistent. He is a switch hitter. Adam Everett just saw him last night. Adam joined the Astros for this game tonight and said he has some good pop as a right-handed batter. and just a lot of abilities. And the Astros are really stacking up the shortstops in their system right now. Of course, the #1 pick last year, Carlos Correa, is playing A ball at Quad Cities this year.
I was about to say, Carlos Correa is the guy that left me daydreaming.
Yeah.
He's very special.
Brandon Laird. Nolan Fontana is playing well at Lancaster this year. There's ball one to Laird. And he has a college background from the University of Florida. So those are 3 outstanding minor league shortstops they have in the chain right now. Line drive hit, and Brandon Laird has his second of the night. Gonzalez to second, and Carter will bat next.
Really nice to see for this young man. He just looked so good over the course of the spring. Deserved to make the big league club, but a lot of guys deserve it and don't make it because of numbers, but he's swinging it well. Just keep hanging it out.
Laird keeps it moving here for the Astros in the 6th, and that gets the big man Carter to the plate. Carter's 0 for 2 with a walk. He came into this game with a .385 career average against the Indians. Carlos Pena's on deck. That's a strike. The Indians bullpen came into this game with a 3.46 ERA. Rays beat the Athletics 1-0 in St. Petersburg. 0-2. Jeremy Hellick's in the winner. He beat Jared Parker. And Rodney got his second save. Matt Joyce at his second homer. Still, the Athletics are 12-6. Outside for Carter, it's 1-2. Cardinals shut out the Phillies in Philadelphia 5-0. Lance Lynn going to 3-0, beating Cliff Lee. He's 2-1. Carlos Beltran hit his 4th homer. Pirates 3, Braves 1. James McDonald squares his record at 2-2, beating Paul Mulholland. Jason Grilli got save number 6. Carter strikes out to end the Astros 6th inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left after 6. 19-6 Pride.
Seventh inning, 21 hits for the Tribe tonight, 10 for the Astros. Balls have been flying out as Paul Clemens gets it loose here for the inning. Just been a rough night. A night that saw Philip Humber started and worked just a third of an inning back in that first inning. 30 pitches for Humber as he allowed 8 hits, 8 earned runs in that frame, a walk mixed in, but Philip Humber just had one of those nights that it doesn't work out for the young man. And as we move to the 7th inning, Paul Clemens will face the 4, 5, and 6 spots. That means Nick Swisher gets another shot at his 5th hit on the night. Bill Brown back and ready to go.
Thanks for filling, pal.
You got it. Were you running some laps trying to warm up?
Yeah. It's gotten a lot cooler the last few minutes here. Swisher has 4 hits tonight and 5 at bats. In this 19-6 game, there have been 21 hits by Cleveland. And the 19 runs with the 8-run first inning starting the onslaught for them. There's ball 1 to him. As for Clemens, a great time for him to get more experience. And in that first outing as a major leaguer, it was a big lead for the Astros, 13-0 in the 5th inning. Eric Bedard came out of the game on a pitch count as a starter, and Clemens was able to get his first major league win. But he threw primarily fastballs, gave up 6 hits and 5 runs in 4 innings. He allowed 3 home runs, and he did his job. Shot to first base. There it is there. 1 out for Clemens. And then that second one we talked about was one-sided the other way, coming in with his club down 6-0 in the first inning. So he's been in 3 games all one-sided one way or the other so far in his career. But that's not that unusual.
Yeah, one thing he continues to show is a competitive nature. And again, I reflect back to the last outing when he dislocated that pinky finger on his right hand, trying to barehand a ground ball that came back up the middle. And he just got it straightened back out, said, I'm ready to go, and let's go. What are you guys hanging around for?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Said he's done it 1,000 times. I doubt it's been quite that many, but why? I think you wonder how tough a guy has to be.
Jason Giambi's had a big night. He takes a look at that one. It's 2-0. Well, the Astros have their starting pitchers pretty well stacked up at AAA. So they've been going with those piggyback starts there. And Clemens getting a chance to do kind of what they're doing at AAA, except he hasn't started, but coming in and pitching several innings in relief to learn things very quickly as a major league hurler. 3 balls and a strike. Paul's 25 years old. And he's been a starter. Last year he had 7 starts at Corpus Christi and 20 at Oklahoma City. That's foul.
Well, Jason Giambi can still get that barrel of the bat flying.
He can.
Big man, and he's strong. And he's got some experience with that long ball.
This one goes closer to the right field line, and Giambi has hit this one just foul. And he ran all the way up the first base line. That one had a chance, to be fair, unlike the last one. Now Paul Clemens was a reliever more often when he started his career. Here's that swing.
Well, he keeps those hands very steady. Takes the big stride, but as long as the hands stay steady and back, you're right in position to hit anything.
19,904 the paid attendance tonight. On a Saturday night, Jose Altuve bobblehead. The shift works with Cedeno right there to get him 2 outs. Now Clemens, that first year in pro ball in 09 at Rome in the Atlanta system, was in 26 games, started 11 of those, so he's done some relief work. And then the next year, 2010, he had some relief outings at Rome and at Myrtle Beach. So that made him perhaps a little bit better suited. When the Astros needed a pitcher, they did not want to bring up Jordan Lyles to work in long relief. So Lyles is part of that piggyback starting situation for the Red Hawks. And Clemens pitching long relief here. Santana has a homer and a run producing double. There's strike 1. And Lyles has good numbers, by the way. Well, if the Astros need a starting pitcher, he and Jared Cosart both would have to come in for very strong consideration based on what they've done so far in the minor league season. Mark Reynolds on deck. That's in dirt. Let's see. No, he's not in the game anymore. Gomes is on deck. Clemens is from Columbia, South Carolina. Foul back. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Last night at Corpus Christi, the Hooks beat Frisco 3-2. And they pulled to within 1 game of the division-leading Rough Riders. With superb pitching at Whataburger Field. Bobby Doran gave up 1 run in 5 innings. Nick Tropiano gave up 1 unearned run in 4 innings. And they're doing the piggyback starting thing there as well. Nationals beat the Mets 7-6 in New York. Tyler Clippard got that win. And Rafael Soriano got his 6th save. 2 home runs for Bryce Harper. Harper's hit 7 now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Twins beat the White Sox in 10, 2-1 at Chicago. Back. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes to Santana.
I guess if you were a general manager and you were looking at the entire pool of Major League Baseball players and you have the #1 pick, it'd be pretty tempting to jump in on Bryce Harper and that great ability he has.
Jeff Luhnow did some scouting on the last West Coast trip, getting ready for the Astros #1 overall pick. Yeah, the Nationals, I think most people would agree, Ash, with Harper and Steven Strasburg had 2 unusually great players with those picks.
Got #1s and they panned out, and not all #1s pan out like that.
Fly ball out toward left center field. And Carter's over for it. For a 1-2-3-7. In the middle of the 7th inning, it's 19-6 Cleveland. Coming, our weekend series wraps up with the Astros taking on Ubaldo Jimenez and the Indians tomorrow. Astros pregame live kicks things off at 12:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. And tomorrow's pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Jimenez off to a rough start, 0-2 with an 11.25 ERA. Eric Bedard is 0-1 with a 7.04. That's the matchup as both pitchers look for a turnaround tomorrow. Orbit entertaining the fans here. Ubaldo Jimenez is 4-0 lifetime against the Astros.
How many hits does Orbit have tonight?
Orbit's down for 3.
So you're saying a slow night?
Last year, Ubaldo Jimenez had a shutout win at Houston, 2-0. Gave up no runs in 6 2/3 innings. In 2010, he had a shutout win at Houston. 7 innings of 1-hit shutout ball. Had to leave the game with a calf cramp. And that one, so he is usually at his best when facing the Astros.
He was certainly at his best. A few years back as a member of the Colorado Rockies, he got off to a great first half. Hasn't quite been the same since.
Last year he was 9-17 for the Tribe with a 5.40 ERA. Carlos Pena, with the infield shifted around, is 1 for 2 with a walk. 2 runs scored tonight. Kluber deals ball 1. He had a scoreless 6th inning. Kluber survived a couple of singles in that frame. Paul Clemens just had the Astros' first 1-2-3 inning. It's a 2-0 count.
Here's that case again where the defense can play everybody back. A complete shift going on. Nobody basically on the left side. And Carlos Pena has no right to try to drop down a bunt and start an inning with the score being what it is.
Santana gets it over to Kluber. 1 out. No right, huh?
Yeah, at least by the book that a lot of people would claim to own, hold, read weekly.
Somebody put out a book on the book.
Yeah?
Have you read that one yet?
I have not.
Gotta get a copy of that.
Did get a pretty cool book today, though.
Oh, yeah. That's right, you did.
Did. Deep in the heart. Blazing a trail from expansion to World Series. It's a must-read.
Hope you enjoy it.
By Bill Brown and Mike Acosta. I will. Thanks.
Carlos Corcoran smacks it foul. Strike 1. Some good photos of you in there. Rex Jones. There's Adam Everett. We talked about Adam before the game, and he's a roving infield instructor with the Astros, and he worked some TV games in spring training this year.
So, why was that?
Well, that was primarily because somebody broke 2 ribs coming down the stairs.
Broadcaster?
Yeah. Nobody you know, though. No balls. Are you about healed up by now?
Yeah, I'm very close. Best day I've had, so thanks for the book.
Well, you're into that. Maybe that'll help some healing, since you can't do much for read now anyway, right?
I am just about getting to that 6-week mark and going to start having some fun.
Popped up, and this one will be out of play. Well, the backup catcher Gomes. Now Lou Marson is on the injury rehab assignment right now. He's the normal backup catcher for the Indians. The Angels blank the Tigers in Anaheim 10-0. Jared Richards the winner over Rick Porcello. Porcello's 0-2 with an 11.08 ERA. Mike Trout hit his second home run. The Angels now 6-10. Corp hit by the pitch on 0-2. And that gives the Astros a 1-out base runner here. And here's a look at it.
Slider just starts coming in, and Corp wasn't budging with that back leg. That's kind of a tough one to take, especially when you look at the scoreboard. That right inside on that left knee, maybe just above it. It's got to hurt.
Cedeno has driven in 3 tonight. First RBI was on a ground out, and then the second one on a 2-run single. Astros trail 15-6 after 3. Matt Dominguez on deck. The Reds got a run in the 13th and beat the Marlins 3-2. Alfredo Simon won it. Steve Cishek was the loser. Joey Votto hit his second homer. The Reds are now 10-8. The Marlins are 4-14. But last night they beat Aroldis Chapman. Slowly hit to the third sacker. Here's the throw for 1 and high. He's airmailed and kicks back out on the field. They got the force out, so no error because the ball didn't go out of play. And Cedeno reached first. 2 outs.
Chapman allowed a, what was it, a 9th inning home run last night to beat him.
Yes, he did.
Sometimes you wonder how anybody gets to that stuff.
Kipnis just let the runner, well, the runner didn't slide, right? So
Exactly.
That's what happened here with this airmail throw.
I think Kipnis just said, well, look, I'm not going to hit you in the face. Very nice on his part to do so. That was one of those scenarios where, quite frankly, some guys that I've played against in the past might just go ahead and fire right away.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you get it between the eyes on those. Matt Dominguez is 0 for 2 with a walk. And that slider is ball one.
Yeah, that was very kind of Jason Kipnis.
Yeah, he could have been taking an error on that one. Upstairs there, and it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Well, the Red Sox, with all that emotion at Fenway today, all the ceremonies, celebrating the heroes, and capturing those criminals, went on to beat the Royals 4-3. Clay Buchholz got the win. He's 4-0 with a 0.90 ERA.
3 runs in the 8th inning for the Red Sox to get it done. That means Buchholz had to work 8 innings, which he did. And he's been dynamite to start the year.
He really has. You'll get a look at him, you and Jeff Blum, on the next road trip.
4 games at Fenway.
Yeah.
3 at Yankee Stadium.
Unless he happens to be the one guy who doesn't pitch in that series, which is a possibility. And probably something that a lot of the hitters are hoping for. 3-1 now.
The way he's been, that's a pretty good wish list.
Andrew Bailey got his 3rd save for the Red Sox. They're 12-4 now. And Daniel Nava hit his 4th homer. And Big Papi returned. We know about that. A shot on the ground. Backhanded. Kipnis does make the accurate throw this time to end the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded after 7. 19-6 Indians.
And prorated season ticket packages, as well as flexible mini packages, are available right now. To learn about all the exclusive benefits and pricing, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com.
Well, the action started early for the Cleveland Indians. 8 runs on 8 hits in the 1st inning. 9 consecutive Indians went to the plate and reached base. There was a walk in there to Santana, as well as all the hits. And now Paul Clemens, pitcher number 5 for the Astros, works to Yan Gomes, the backup catcher. Throwing strike 1 to Gomes. It's his first time at the plate. He's 1 for 14. That 1 hit, a home run for Gomes. Takes a look at that one for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Gomes is 25 years old, from Brazil. The first Brazilian-born player to play in the majors.
I got to see him last year. He's got a lot of pop in the bat, as we just learned with this foul ball deep down the left field side. Good strong throwing arm. Kind of a catcher, first baseman, third baseman.
That's right. We were in Toronto with him. And he was drafted in the 10th round of '09 by the Blue Jays. Looping line drive hit to left field for Yan Gomes.
He's got some tools.
He's aboard with Chisenhall due up next. That's 22 hits now for the Indians. The record for hits allowed by an Astros team, 26 in one game. And that was that game August 3rd, 1989 at Cincinnati, started by Jim Clancy. They gave up 18 runs in that one. And, Bob Forsch came in and pitched about 7 innings in relief that day. So he really stood tall for the Astros bullpen. Chisenhall has a double and a single. He's also been hit by a pitch. Strike one to Chisenhall. Been a busy scorecard tonight, hasn't it?
Busy's a nice way of putting it.
How would you like to recap the scoring in this game?
I considered it while you were out running laps a little while ago, and then I reconsidered.
Wow. Yankees beat the Blue Jays with 2 in the 11th, 5-3 in Toronto. Yankees go to 10-6. Mariano Rivera got his 5th save. Vernon Wells hit his 5th home run. Then Vernon Wells pick up very interesting now. The Yankees injury riddled, and he's really helping their offense. They're just kind of ham and egging it together, aren't they, there in New York? But it's working.
Not too many years ago, Vernon Wells was considered one of the game's outstanding players.
Maxwell over into right center. Yeah, he really was.
And he signed the big deal, and that was really the reason that he was traded away from Toronto. They wanted to get out from under that contract. He went on to the Angels, who appeared to be a team that could afford to pay big deals like that, but he didn't produce. So the Yankees took a shot, and it's paying off for the time being.
Now Ryan Rayburn comes up. He's hitting .208. No homers, no runs batted in. First time at the plate for Rayburn, the former Detroit Tiger. And Drew Stubbs' 9th spot. Here's the throw from Dominguez over to Marwin Gonzalez. They get the force out at second. That's pretty slick. The way Dominguez had to move to his right and then throw from near the third base bag across his body on to second.
Yeah, you want to see a rather non-routine force play at second and near double play. Force a guy like this, then throw on the run, do it perfectly. The guy is really unique and special at third. Not many guys can make that play.
Very slick. Now Brantley, who started in left and has moved to center field. That's ball 1 to him. The Orioles swept a twin bill in Baltimore from the Dodgers. 7-5 and 6-1. Baltimore's now 10-7. The Dodgers are 7-10. Foul back, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Giants lead the Padres 2-0. They're in the bottom of the 6th in San Francisco. Pablo Sandoval hit his 3rd home run. Rockies lead the D-backs 4-2. They're in the top of the 8th in Colorado. And the Rockies are 12-4. Michael Kadire has hit his 4th homer. Rangers lead the Mariners 5-0 in the top of the 9th. At Texas, Brzezinski and Murphy have gone deep. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Jurickson Profar is playing shortstop for the Rangers AAA club in Round Rock. And he is rated as the top minor league prospect of all teams. It'll be interesting to see where he's playing this time next year. Will he be traded? 2 balls, 2 strikes. There are those who think that they should not have signed Elvis Andrus to that multi-year extension, but cleared the way instead for Profar to move in at shortstop.
You ain't got it, Michelle.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've had a chance to watch Andrus play, and he's very talented as well, and he's done it on the big league level.
Maxwell over into left center field. Handles this one in the 8th inning. No runs a hit and a man left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 19-6 Cleveland. Eighth inning. Astros big and bright Friday nights are the perfect combination of baseball and family fun. Each Friday night game is followed by a spectacular fireworks show presented by Marathon Oil. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets today. We're looking last night at the upcoming Friday night schedule for the Astros. And there are some good dates. May 3rd, a Friday night. Detroit is here. And a week after that, May 10th, Texas is here. And then 2 weeks after that, May 24th, Oakland is here. Those are the 3 Friday night home games in May. Now 19-6 as the Astros come up in the bottom of the 8th inning. And it's Brandon Barnes leading it off. Brandon homered in the 2nd inning. He's 1 for 3. So he has had very good results in the early going this season. Hitting well above 300. Just hit his first homer and drove in his first runs earlier tonight. And here's a look back.
Back in the 2nd inning, Brandon Barnes went the other way with that home run. Rather impressive in doing so. Nice to see. He's an enjoyable young man.
Boy, is he having fun. No balls, 2 strikes. He bunted for one of his 2 hits last night. That was in the 6th inning. And he said, well, I hit an 8-iron. He popped it up and landed right in front of the 3rd baseman.
Spins the 8-iron pretty well.
Yeah. That's part of his game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Such a great ride for a guy who's in his first year in the major leagues. Seeing cities for the first time, getting a chance to see his family in California on 2 stops, and we were there. And Anaheim and Oakland. Here's Santana over for the foul pop. 1 out. Marwin Gonzalez singled in the 6th inning. Jose Altuve started the game as the 2nd baseman. He went 2 for 3. And Marwin came in then and his first at bat. Hit the ball on the ground, threw into right field. Now, the Astros have 6 runs on 10 hits tonight, but their opponents have 19 runs on 22 hits. Cleveland has stranded 12. Houston has left 8. Ball 1 to Marwin. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Corey Kluber, pitcher number 3 for the Tribe. Scott Kazmir started. He went 3 1/3, allowing 7 hits and 6 runs. Ryan Shaw went 1 2/3. He allowed 1 hit, no runs. Cole Porter's club has 1 out here in the 8th. And that moves into the strike zone with a 2-1 count now for Gonzalez. Justin Maxwell is next. Sharply hit on the ground. Kipnis is there. Over to Santana. 2 outs. Justin Maxwell is 1 for 4. He doubled to left in the 4th inning.
On the whole, not a bad night offensively for the Astros, but just can't match up to what the Indians have been able to do.
Well, when we came on, we were talking about the pattern the Astros have used in their 5 wins. And that was home runs in all 5 and good pitching in the early innings of those games.
They got that tonight. A couple of home runs in the first 3 innings. 6 runs scored in that span. But again, the Tribe just too much this evening.
Strike to Maxwell. So we take a look back, and the Astros outscore their opponent 28-3 in the first 4 innings of their 5 wins. No balls, 2 strikes. Tonight they were outscored 14-3 in the first 2 innings.
Well, it crosses that formula around.
And the Indians just kept piling it on. 1-2.
Well, the Astros got that offensive part mixed in pretty well, but pitching side, nightmare evening.
That's a strikeout looking. And that ends the 8th inning as Maxwell talks with Mike DeMuro. We go to the 9th inning, 19-6 Cleveland. Sportsnet is brought to you by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Beautiful view of the city of Houston, where it's 19-6 Indians. Game 2 of a 3-game series has been all Cleveland. We go to the 9th inning after the Astros won it 3-2 last night. And it's Paul Clemens facing Jason Kipnis. Kipnis looks at it. It's strike 1 to him. He has singled. He's been on a walk. And he's scored a couple of times tonight. No balls, 2 strikes. He'd been out a few games with the left forearm problem, but type of guy who apparently just constant perpetual motion, hates to sit out. Very happy to be back in there. And Kipnis is down on strikes. Clemens gets out number 1. It's his first K of the night.
Paul Clemens can kind of earn an honorary MVP award here this evening. What a nice job.
Yeah. Pitching scoreless ball. 2 2/3 innings so far for him. Mike Aviles is the batter. He came in for Asdrubal Cabrera. Curve in the dirt, ball 1. Well, there was a bobblehead day in Cincinnati for Brandon Phillips, and he had the game-winning sacrifice fly in the 13th. In tight for a ball to Aviles. 2 balls, no strikes. The Reds won the game despite going 1 for 12 with men in scoring position and leaving 17 men on base. Kind of nuts. 2 balls and a strike. Shin-Soo Choo, who scored the game-winning run on the walk-off sac fly, was on base 6 times.
Something about Ohio teams this evening?
Must be. Clemens pitching inside here. He falls behind 3-1.
Come on, baby. Come on, Blue.
That's pulled left field side and foul. 3-2. The manager of the Miami Marlins this year is Mike Redmond, former Major League catcher. He's in for a long year, isn't he?
Seems to be the situation down there. Ball boy had a couple of choices: be a hero or stay alive, and I think he chose the latter, and a good choice.
A very, very smart individual. Fly ball to center field, chasing Maxwell back.
Pass it out, son.
Out number 2.
Yeah, the Marlins look like they're off to a pretty tough road this year.
Wow.
Good job.
And do you think they'll keep Giancarlo Stanton or trade him?
He's a heck of a hitter, but it kind of doesn't make sense if they can get a wealth of young talent to hang on to him.
True.
I don't know. It also, it's tough when you're trying to maintain a fan base, and they are 1 year removed from bringing in a bunch of talent with their brand new ballpark, and I'm sure big consideration. Can they hang on to the fans by hanging on to that one player and then starting to develop around him?
Swisher takes a strike. Swisher has 4 hits tonight.
Swing hard, swing fast, baby. Come on.
His numbers are looking very good right now. They weren't bad when the game started. He rocks one to right field, but Barnes is moving over for the catch. On a 1-2-3 ninth inning, we go to the bottom half. 19-6 Indians. is just a moment away. Just as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And Brandon Laird, in his second at bat with the Astros in 2013, hits it out.
Very nice to see. And he gets the silent treatment in the dugout and knows how to handle it. Young man handles himself well, and the teammates obviously very happy to see him come through.
Second major league homer for Brandon Laird. And now he leads it off in the bottom of the ninth inning. He also has a single tonight in a 2-for-4 game. Corey Kluber has worked 3 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball. Shaw went 1 2/3. He gave up 1 hit and no runs. And we're told that the official scorer will award the win to Shaw if the Indians win it, because the starter Kazmir went only 3 1/3. Strike to Laird. So the official scorer has a judgment call here. He doesn't have to give it to Shaw, but that's normally the case. Usually it's the first pitcher in the game after the starter who gets the win in situations like this game, if he pitches effectively. If he doesn't pitch effectively, that's different. Kluber takes care of out number 1.
With so many things about scoring and everything about this game being hard, fast, you disappointed there isn't a hard, fast rule on that one?
Well, kind of. I really kind of have a problem with the whole winning pitcher thing.
Yes.
Carter's the batter, able to walk. You know, let's say that a starter went 4 innings and he pitched shutout ball, and something happened and he had to come out of that game, but he didn't get the win.
And somebody who goes a third of an inning could technically be the winning pitcher.
Yeah, that just doesn't sound right. But it's been that way forever. If he were to pitch 4 innings and pitch shutout ball, or give up 1 run, we'll say, and no one else who pitched in that game for his team did that well, I think you should get a win.
I can't argue against that.
One ball, 1 strike, or 2 balls and a strike rather, but you know, the quality start thing is not an official stat, but I think we'll just drop that this year. You know what?
I'm good with that too.
It's not very meaningful.
Saves can be completely out of whack.
2 and 2. The thing about a quality start is it covers too broad a range. It covers an ERA from 0 to 4.50. That's just too broad a range. It could be a quality start that was great. Carter's down on strikes, or it could be a quality start of 6 innings, 3 earned runs that was really just okay. 3 strikeouts now for Kluber. And Pena comes up. Pena has a double. He's 1 for 3 with a walk and 2 runs scored. Somebody asked Paul Porter about Jose Altuve. Well, you're in a string now of 17 straight games without a day off. That started last night. And Jose Altuve has not been given a day off. What do you see for him? He said, well, that's the beauty of the DH. He said if we have a night when he's doing a lot of running in a game, and it looks like his legs could use a day off from playing second base, that would be the time to DH him.
Watching Altuve play and his makeup and the way it lends to his play, I don't think he would ever tell you that he needed a day off.
True.
He's just one of those guys who loves to play the game.
1 ball and 1 strike.
And I love watching him play. The guy is just terrific. So many aspects of this game.
It's fitting that you have a bobblehead.
Got 2 hits on his bobblehead night. Or on this night, anyway.
Yeah. 1 or 2. How many bobbleheads do you think Nolan Ryan had?
Not enough. Not based on his set of numbers he put up over that career. 7 no-hitters. That's just unbelievable. The strikeout figures will never be approached.
No. And he just blew everybody away with those strikeout numbers. Right about that.
What an honor for those of us who got a chance to play with him.
And then in his final year with the Astros, they were worried about his elbow, right? The ligament in his elbow, and that was really at work with whether to re-sign him or not and how high to go and the amount. And then the Rangers came along and got a deal. Strikeout to end it. And the Indians, who poured it on early with 8 in the first, 6 in the second, go on to a 19-6 rout tonight to square this series. They snapped their 5-game losing streak. Big night for Nick Swisher, who had 4 hits, including 3 doubles, and he scored 3 times in this game. Final score, Cleveland 19, Houston 6. Santana also a big contributor tonight. We'll be right back.